Love system, the rich girl and school belle gently falls into his arms. After failing his blind date, the introverted and socially anxious Shen Lang binds a romance assistance system. As long as he increases a girl's affection for him, he can earn various generous rewards. In the afternoon, he meets the landlady to sign a rental contract. Looking at the curvaceous, elegant, and still charming housewife, Shen Lang casually compliments, "You look so young, sister." The landlady beams with a smile, her face flushed with a mix of shyness and joy, saying, "You're quite the bold one, young man." "I'm almost 40. I'm getting old." At this moment, the system offers 3 possible responses. Which one will you choose? 1. You're 40. That's impressive. If I were your age, I would have died by now. 2. You're not old at all. You still have a long way to go before you can beat me. 3. Really, sister? Time may age the years, but it can't defeat beauty. You're old by age, but young at heart. Chapter 1, The Landlady. You're a writer, you say? Have you ever published anything? I'm an online writer. In order to publish a work, it has to perform very well. So, you're saying your works aren't doing well? How much do you earn in a month? If I'm consistent, about 6,000 a month, roughly. Only 6,000? That's less than half the price of my handbag. That's really low. How can you live in Jianghai City on that? Inside a lakeside cafe in Jianghai City, Shen Lang is on a blind date set up by his mom with a woman she knows. As soon as the topic of his salary comes up, the atmosphere becomes awkward, and Shen Lang, already socially anxious, feels even more uncomfortable. After a few seconds of awkward silence, the woman stands up, grabs her brown handbag, and smiles helplessly. "All right, I have something else to do. I'll leave now. We can reconnect later." In her eyes, this guy isn't too bad looking and is quite tall, but his plain appearance, the stubble on his face, and his messy hair make him seem too casual. His demeanor also gives off an impression of being low energy, with vacant eyes behind thick glasses, as if he spends his days locked in at home playing video games. What's worse, he doesn't have much money. His electric scooter parked in front of the cafe looks so out of place next to the shiny sedans. Take care. Shen Lang doesn't feel disappointed. In fact, he feels a little relieved finally, he can be alone. At 24 years old, Shen Lang, a huge fan of online novels, became an online writer after graduation, specializing in martial arts and action stories. His job is similar to that of a tech geek. He spends all day at home typing. This solitary lifestyle has made Shen Lang even more introverted and shy than he already was. Except for going downstairs to eat, Shen Lang barely leaves his home. After living in isolation like this for years, his social skills have become extremely poor. Whenever he's with a girl, he gets very nervous, his words often coming out wrong and completely out of sync with the situation. That's the main reason why, despite being 24, Shen Lang has never had a normal relationship. Just then, his phone rings. "Hello, is this Mr. Shen? Can you come sign the contract later? I need to pick up my daughter from school." "Sure, I'll come right away." Unable to stand his parents' constant pressure to find a partner, Shen Lang had rented a 1-bedroom apartment online, hoping to escape the constant marriage talk from his parents. After quickly finishing his coffee, Shen Lang heads to the counter to pay the bill. Given the woman's materialistic behavior earlier, he didn't expect her to split the bill or pay for it. "Hello, the total is 150 yuan. You can scan here." The cashier girl is very pretty, with her eyes crinkling into a cute smile. Okay. Shen Lang nervously avoids looking at her. Most socially anxious introverts are like this. They are not used to making eye contact with the opposite sex, especially not with beautiful girls. "Thank you for coming. Please take care." After scanning the QR code and paying, Shen Lang suddenly feels a little dizzy. It seems like a few words and a fuzzy heart icon flashed in front of the cashier's face for a second. He blinks, looks again, but the words and heart icon disappear. Maybe I should start exercising more. Shen Lang thinks it's just a bad habit from sitting too long. After paying, he rides his electric scooter to Fulong Community, located on the outskirts of the city. Although it's far from the city center, the rent is cheap, and the area is quiet. Shen Lang, who rarely leaves his home, liked this feature and promptly paid a deposit on the rental website. As he enters the elevator, his WeChat notification sounds. "Ping Ping and Mom, and I woke up at dawn. Son, how did the blind date go today? I woke up at dawn, it failed, what else? By the way, the date cost me 150 yuan, can you reimburse me? Ping Ping and Mom, son, do you want me to tell you a story? I woke up at dawn, what story? Ping Ping and Mom, back in the day, Laozi spent 49 days refining an elixir. The elixir had its own consciousness and ran down to earth to the ginseng fruit tree. Over time, it transformed into a ginseng fruit. I woke up at dawn, then what happened? Ping Ping and Mom, later, when Tang Seng and his disciples came by, Sun Wukong ate many of the ginseng fruits but hit one that had transformed into a ginseng fruit with a stick. Guess why? I woke up at dawn, why? Ping Ping and Mom, because it was danshin, a type of medicinal herb, and danshin should be destroyed. What use is it to keep it alive? Don't you think so, son? I woke up at dawn, ? Staring at the long string of smiley emojis his mom sent, Shen Lang nervously gulps, quickly exits the group chat, and hides himself. For the sake of his life, he decides to skip dinner at his parents' place this weekend. The elevator reaches the 22nd floor, and Shen Lang walks out to his apartment door. Clack, 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 clack. The door is wide open, and the sound of high heels tapping the floor gets closer. Shen Lang's heart races faster. He really doesn't know how to interact with women. A moment later, a woman in a brown embroidered shirt appears in front of him. She has a delicate, fair face and long black hair cascading over one shoulder. She wears a nude-colored skirt and tights, her legs long and shapely. From head to toe, she exudes the charm of a mature woman with a hint of the elegance of a housewife. She holds a rental contract in one hand, and on the small table in the room is a large bunch of shiny keys. Shen Lang glances at the keys and counts at least 10 properties. She is beautiful, has a good figure, and is a landlady. Such a graceful, mature woman is something Shen Lang has only seen in novels. Are you Shen Lang? The woman looks at him curiously and smiles teasingly. From your voice, I thought you were in your 30s. You're so young? Taken off guard by this sudden compliment, Shen Lang nervously smiles and stammers, I didn't expect that either. The moment the words leave his mouth, Shen Lang regrets them deeply. He is mortified. What is he even saying? How could he not know how old he is? Sure enough, after he speaks, the woman looks at him in confusion. Shen Lang feels like he wants to die from embarrassment. Desperately racking his brain, he blurts out, what I meant was, you look so young, sister, like a little girl. Chapter 2, The Love Assistant. The landlady froze for a moment, looking up and down at the seemingly honest tall young man in front of her, then let out a dismissive snort. Hey, kid, I'm almost 40 years old. How could I possibly be considered young? You really have the nerve to say that. No matter the gender, anyone who receives a compliment will, to some degree, feel happy about it. But Xie Shuyi was a seasoned woman with years of experience, and she owned several buildings. Over the past decade, she'd seen all kinds of men. Even if someone praised her for looking young and beautiful, she wouldn't express any outward joy. She was some naive girl from the deep mountains who could be easily charmed by such shallow flattery. What should I do? Feeling the clear displeasure in the landlady's tone, Shen Lang, who was already prone to awkwardness with women, broke into a cold sweat. Sure enough, women really cared a lot about their age. Just as he was about to sink into despair, 3 virtual text options appeared before him. 1. You're almost 40. That's impressive. If it were me, I'd be dead by now. 2. You're not old at all. You're still young compared to me. 3. Really, sister, age can't defeat beauty. It's your age that is old, but you're beautiful. Moreover, the heart-shaped icon he had briefly seen above the cashier's head earlier appeared again. This time, it wasn't pink but transparent, with a 1 next to it and a faint red glow pulsing inside the heart. Shen Lang rubbed his eyes in disbelief, then quickly looked back at the landlady's graceful and alluring figure. The text and the transparent heart were still there. As an online novel writer, Shen Lang wasn't unfamiliar with these things. This had to be the protagonist's golden finger that helped him rise to the top of the world. A voice in his ear suddenly spoke, cold and metallic, please choose your response quickly. A correct choice will result in a reward. It was then that Shen Lang believed he was really selected for this sci-fi experience. As for the 3 choices, any normal person would know which one to pick. Really, sister, age can't defeat beauty. It's your age that's old, but you're beautiful. With the powerful system backing him, Shen Lang felt more confident. He wasn't as nervous or shy as before when speaking. However, he still wasn't used to saying such ambiguous things to a woman he just met, so he anxiously watched Xia Shuyi's reaction. Xia Shuyi gave him a neutral look, then shook her head slightly with an indifferent expression. I thought you looked gentle and honest with those glasses, but I didn't expect you to talk so slick. Is this how young people are now? Complimenting everyone. Under Xia Shuyi's scrutinizing gaze, Shen Lang started to panic. Had he chosen the wrong option? She didn't seem pleased at all. Quickly scanning the first two options again, he confirmed he hadn't made a mistake. If he had chosen either of the first two responses, forget about renting the place, he probably wouldn't even be able to leave the room. Ding! Xia Shuyi's affection for you has increased by 2 points, now at 3 points. Keep it up. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Shen Lang suddenly noticed that the heart above Xia Shuyi's head had changed from 1 to 3. The transparent heart now had a faint red glow, just like the ones in romance games that track character affection. Since the affection increased by 2 points, that meant he had made the right choice. But why didn't Xia Shuyi look happy? Could it be that she was playing hard to get? More importantly, what should he say next? At that moment, the system provided more options. 1. Har har, you caught me, sister. I'm not like this with everyone, but because of you, I said that. 2. I really think you look young, like my mom. 3. Sister, I really think you look youthful. At your age, you're at the peak of your beauty, like a flower in full bloom, looking as fresh as those young girls. You're at the most vibrant stage of your life. Shen Lang, who wasn't very good at understanding conversation strategies, found himself at a loss. But after some thought, he realized the first option would sound too much like a confession, and she might misunderstand his intentions. The second option was definitely out. Who would compare a woman's age to their mom's? The third option, however, could easily follow up on what he had said earlier. Shen Lang did think the landlady was pretty, though a little older. Some men liked women in her age group, and it wasn't really excessive flattery. After a moment's thought, Shen Lang smiled sincerely and said, Sister, I really think you look youthful. At your age, you're at the peak of your beauty, like a flower in full bloom, looking as fresh as those young girls. You're at the most vibrant stage of your life. Xia Shuyi was taken aback by Shen Lang's ambiguous yet polite compliment. When she saw his honest and earnest smile, her face flushed slightly, and she gave him a mock scowl, testing him. All right, you're saying all these nice things. You don't want me to lower the rent for you, do you? 1. You caught me, sister. I'm a bit short on funds lately. Can you reduce the rent? 2. I'm just speaking the truth. You really do look young. If we went out shopping, people would definitely think we're siblings. 3. Shouldn't the rent be lower? This place is so remote, and you're charging me 1,000 a month. No, the rent is what it is, Shen Lang replied earnestly. I'm just speaking the truth. Sister, you really do look young. If we went out shopping, people would definitely think we're siblings. Ding! Xia Shuyi's affection for you has increased by 3 points, now at 6 points. Keep it up. Xia Shuyi's face turned red as she waved her hand, her voice much gentler. You really have no shame, using these lines on young girls, huh? No, sister, I'm still single, and I really think you look young, I mean. All right, Xia Shuyi interrupted, clearly flustered by Shen Lang's forward remarks. She teasingly said, Are you here for a blind date or to rent the place? Are we signing the contract or not? Let us sign, Shen Lang eagerly agreed, following Xia Shuyi into the room to sign the contract. Just as Xia Shuyi turned around, Shen Lang clearly saw a small smile tugging at the corner of her lips. Chapter 3, Flirting for Profit. This is a one-bedroom apartment with all the necessary appliances, and the internet is fully set up. You can move in with just your luggage. Summer Shuyi sat beside him, quietly watching Shen Lang sign the contract. She used her delicate fingers to point out where he should sign and occasionally asked some casual questions. Her voice was no longer as forceful as before. Instead, it had a warm, older sister vibe. After signing the contract, Shen Lang carefully reviewed the details outlined in it. Then, Summer Shui took him around the room and the hallway to familiarize him with the environment. After paying the rent, Shen Lang and Summer Shui exchanged WeChat contacts. Well, that's it for now. I have to go pick up my daughter from school, Summer Shui said, taking the keys and the contract copy. If you need anything, you can message me on WeChat. Shen Lang nodded. Alright, take care, Summer Jie. Thanks for everything. After she stood up, Summer Shui gave Shen Lang a thoughtful glance, her expression a mix of hesitation and something unspoken. Summer Jie, is there something else? Shen Lang asked politely. Well. Summer Shui tucked a few stray hairs behind her ear, hesitating for a moment before asking with a bashful yet expectant tone, the things you said earlier, about how I'm beautiful and young, do you really think that suits me? Women always care deeply about their appearance and age. It wasn't the first time someone had complimented Summer Shui on her youthful beauty. In fact, there were many who praised her in her social circle. But she knew those people were usually after her money or her status. Shen Lang, however, didn't give her that fawning, sycophantic vibe. She had noticed the nervousness on his face when he said those words. It was the kind of awkwardness typical of a recent college graduate, which made her believe he was being sincere. Shen Lang hadn't expected that the landlady would be concerned about what he had said. She had seemed indifferent earlier. As he hesitated on how to respond, the system's prompt appeared. 1. Old Beatty, I only said you were young, when did I say you were beautiful? Your ears must be going bad with age. 2. Really, Summer Jie, if you hadn't told me your age, I'd have thought you were in your late 20s or early 30s. 3. You're really beautiful, Summer Jie, and I love your figure. I bet you'd feel great to hug. Really, Summer Jie, if you hadn't told me your age, I'd have thought you were in your late 20s or early 30s. Shen Lang said sincerely, then added, and Summer Jie, I'm sure it's not just me, your friends must often praise you for being young and beautiful too. After answering, Shen Lang couldn't help but mentally criticize options 1 and 3. He really wasn't afraid of making a mistake. He couldn't even imagine what would have happened if he had chosen one of those two responses. Ding! Summer Shui's favorability towards their host has increased by 4 points, now at 10 points. Keep it up. They are all just joking around, Summer Shui said awkwardly, brushing a strand of hair, her eyes filled with a glimmer of happiness as she couldn't help but laugh. I think you're the only one who has ever said that to me, an old lady. No way, Summer Jie. I really think you're young and beautiful, and your figure is great. Shen Lang laughed along, no longer feeling the awkwardness he once had. Instead, he felt a strange sense of accomplishment. So this is what it feels like to make a woman happy with compliments. Har har, you sure know how to flatter. Well, I have to go now. I need to pick up my daughter. The principal keeps messaging me on WeChat, Summer Shui said as she turned to leave, her legs in silk stockings clicking in her high heels. As she entered the elevator, she shot him a flirtatious glance, making Shen Lang, a man who'd been single for over 20 years, breathe heavily. It's true, older women really do have their own charm. Once Summer Shui left, Shen Lang eagerly closed the door and was ready to study the system. System. Hello, host. The Romance Assistant system is at your service. That's a very grounded name, Shen Lang joked with a smile. Could you give me a detailed introduction to your functions? As the name suggests, this system is designed to assist the host with social interactions. Whenever the host faces a tricky social situation, this system will provide various response options based on the other person's personality. Regardless of gender, as long as the host selects the correct answer from the options provided by the system and increases the other person's favorability towards the host will receive cash rewards. Each 1 point of favorability equals a cash reward of 10,000 yuan. When the other person's favorability reaches 50, the host will gain access to detailed personal information about them, as well as a mysterious treasure chest. The mysterious treasure chest can contain any item the host desires. When the favorability reaches 100, the host will receive another chest. However, if the person is underage, the system will not provide favorability or treasure chests. 1 point of favorability equals 10,000 yuan. So does that mean I've earned 100,000 yuan in cash rewards already? Shen Lang asked eagerly. After all, he just made Summer Shui like him by 10 points. Currently, the host has earned 10 points of favorability from Summer Shui. You can now withdraw 100,000 yuan in cash. Would you like to withdraw it? Withdraw, withdraw. Shen Lang was thrilled. This money came way faster than his typing work, and it also helped him improve his social skills. As soon as he spoke, his phone pinged with a text message. Your account 6770 received 100,000 yuan on December 11th at 6:30 a.m. CITIC Bank. Chat for a few minutes, and I get paid the equivalent of a year's salary. This is too sweet. Shen Lang adjusted his glasses, feeling oddly confident. Communicating with girls wasn't so hard after all. Even if he felt a bit awkward and shy, this was real money. Who wouldn't love earning big while improving their communication skills? By the way, system, I just thought of something. What if the person is someone I really dislike? Shen Lang asked curiously. Do I have to work on raising their favorability too? Rest assured, host. For people you dislike, you can lower their favorability instead and still earn rewards. This system will provide various response options to help you decrease their favorability based on their actions and words. That's good, Shen Lang sighed in relief. He didn't want to have to pretend to like everyone. That would be just like being a disgusting puppy dog. Chapter 4, Only Cowards Have No Partners. Last question. Shen Lang cleared his throat awkwardly and scratched his nose. Once someone's favorability level is maxed out, is it like those games? When the favorability of anyone you socialize with reaches 100, their final attitude towards you will depend on your choices, the system replied vaguely, but the implication was clear. Oh. Shen Lang awkwardly touched his nose, feeling like he had asked a childish question. If an opposite-sex person's favorability towards you is maxed out, but they aren't willing to engage in some adult games, then either they are into women, they are a relative, or they have some physical issue. Looking at the time, it was already past 6. Shen Lang grabbed his phone and keys, planning to go downstairs for a walk and grab some dinner, to familiarize himself with the area and maybe meet some people to chat with and earn a little extra cash. This neighborhood was in a relatively remote area. Shen Lang followed the navigation for a while before finding a lively street full of food vendors calling out to customers. After a quick bowl of fried rice, Shen Lang wandered over to a stall selling sugar-roasted chestnuts. He planned to buy some chestnuts to eat while playing games later. This was the typical routine of most single people. They didn't care much about food. When at home, they ate whatever their parents cooked, and when eating out, if they had money, they would eat something decent. If not, they'd just settle for whatever. They were easy to please. The chestnut vendor was a dark-skinned man, enthusiastically stirring the chestnuts, which smelled great. Shen Lang walked up and asked, "Boss, how much are the chestnuts?" 20 yuan a pound. Just picked them recently. Want to buy some, young man? The man peeled a steaming chestnut and handed it to Shen Lang. Here, try one. It's really good. Shen Lang awkwardly accepted it and popped it into his mouth. The taste was indeed good. He nodded and said, I'll take 20 yuan worth. Even if the chestnuts weren't good, Shen Lang would still feel awkward rejecting the vendor's enthusiasm and would buy some anyway. This was how many socially anxious people acted. As long as a vendor was friendly, they couldn't bear to turn them down, even if it meant buying something they weren't entirely satisfied with. All right, we have sweet, salty, and original flavors. Which one do you want? Salty. Got it, I'll pack them for you. The vendor smiled and put down his spatula, starting to pack the chestnuts. Ding! The vendor's favorability towards their host has increased by 1 point, now at 1 point. Keep it up. Shen Lang noticed a heart icon above the vendor's head. It was blue, indicating a favorability of just 1 point. After thinking for a moment, Shen Lang decided, Boss, also pack me 20 yuan worth of the original flavor. Okay. The vendor smiled and started packing the original flavored chestnuts. His favorability towards Shen Lang increased by another point. Shen Lang realized that boosting someone's favorability wasn't limited to using the right words. Like this vendor, if you bought more of his chestnuts, helping him earn a little extra, his favorability would increase too. That'll be 40 yuan in total, just scan here. Okay, done. Shen Lang smiled nonchalantly. Earning 20,000 yuan for 40 yuan was such a bargain. You're buying so much must be for you and your girlfriend, huh? The vendor handed him the 2 bags of chestnuts and teased, I envy you young people. No worries, just enjoying life. Har har. Shen Lang awkwardly accepted the hot chestnuts, forcing a smile. What's up with this guy? Taking care of your business but also throwing a jab at you. Does he think I can't eat 40 yuan worth of chestnuts by myself? Just then, Shen Lang's attention was caught by a slender, delicate young woman with a bright, cheerful step, bouncing up to the vendor while smiling and greeting him. The girl had an exquisite oval face, fair skin, and delicate features. Her cherry lips were a soft pink, and her wide, baggy school uniform couldn't hide her well-proportioned figure. Her whole presence radiated youthful charm. Thump, thump. Shen Lang felt his heart pounding wildly and nervously took a step to the side. This wasn't some love at first sight shyness, it was just the usual reaction of socially anxious people. When they encountered girls, especially those around their age and with a bright and sunny personality, they would often act like this. On the surface, they seemed indifferent and aloof, but inside, they were incredibly nervous. It was like a goblin living in a dark cave, encountering a beautiful elf outside, both yearning to talk but afraid their ugly appearance would disgust the elf. Shen Lang felt like that goblin, sneaking peeks at the cheerful elf with his peripheral vision. But sadly, the elf didn't notice him at all. She was happily chatting with the vendor, seemingly debating which flavor of chestnuts to buy. Shen Lang turned away, but his eyes still flicked over to her. She was really beautiful, with that bright and sunny charm, and every smile and frown made him unconsciously grin. In that moment, Shen Lang's overactive imagination started running wild. He began fantasizing about all sorts of romantic encounters with this girl. This was the sad skill of most socially anxious, introverted singles. They were excellent at imagining a beautiful girl walking with them, playing games together, or strolling down the street. But in reality, such sweet encounters rarely happened. It was just a grand fantasy, a way of escaping their unsatisfactory lives. When the dream ended, they returned to their ordinary lives and realized that youth wasn't really anything special. Walking home, Shen Lang started to regret it. He had already bound the system, yet he still didn't dare approach the girl. If this were a typical urban novel, someone as cowardly as him would probably be roasted by the readers, right? If he had just started a conversation earlier, the system's function would have activated, and even if he was bad at talking, the system would help him out. But alas, he still chickened out. Years of living as a homebody had made him so shy that he didn't even dare approach a girl. It was exactly like the saying online, good-looking people have partners, ugly people have partners, only cowards have no partners. Shen Lang silently swore, if I get another chance, I'll definitely go up and talk to her, get her contact information. Just then, he suddenly heard a bright, cheerful laugh from behind him. Chapter 5, No Initiative, No Story. Shen Lang turned around abruptly. The girl from earlier, who had been buying chestnuts, was walking behind him, holding a steaming bag of chestnuts and laughing while typing on her phone. I forgot. I'm dieting lately. What should I do? I bought sweet chestnuts. Huh? You're not eating? I can't just throw them away, it's 20 yuan. Oh well, I'll just cut back next week. Hold on, someone has been staring at me. As Su Lishuan chatted with her roommate, she unintentionally noticed a tall guy in front of her staring at her. A little flustered, she quickly put her phone away. Her clear, innocent eyes briefly met Shen Lang's, before she looked away. When she noticed there was no one else behind her, Su Lishuan realized that he was indeed looking at her. She hesitated, lowered her head, and decided to quickly walk around him. Seeing that the girl had noticed him, Shen Lang started to panic. His mind was a mess, not knowing what to say as an opening line. Just then, the system's options appeared. 1. Joking fiercely, this road is mine, and this tree is mine. If you want to pass, hand over your chestnuts. Har har, just kidding. Can I add you on WeChat? 2. Smiling, asking, hey, did you also buy chestnuts from that old man? What flavor did you get? 3. Friendly approach, hey beautiful, you're pretty. Can we exchange WeChat? Shen Lang nearly picked option 1, thinking it would be humorous, but then realized that making such a crude joke would definitely scare her off. It would be impossible to ask for her WeChat after that. He smiled nervously and asked, what flavor did you get? You also bought from that old man. Sweet, what's up? Su Lishuan paused, eyeing him warily. As the campus beauty of Zhuhai University, with countless boys chasing after her, Su Lishuan was often approached for her WeChat. Only a few weeks into college, she'd already turned down many guys, with some even questioning if she was into girls. She instinctively thought that this guy, wearing glasses, must be trying to get her WeChat. She began preparing her polite rejection. Shen Lang wasn't surprised. Any girl would be cautious when a stranger, especially a guy, approached them. The system options popped up again. 1. Pretending to be deep, eating so many sweets, be careful of cavities. And as a girl, don't you care about your weight? 2. Jokingly, the old man didn't hear me properly. I asked for sweet and salty, but he gave me original. I prefer sweet, how about I swap with you? 3. Friendly suggestion, hey, don't play with your phone while walking. Shen Lang immediately ruled out the first choice. Criticizing her for her diet would be rude. He smiled and said, the old man didn't hear me properly. I asked for sweet and salty, but he gave me original. I prefer sweet. How about I trade with you? Su Lishuan relaxed slightly. She had thought he was another guy asking for her WeChat but now realized he was just making small talk. She smiled and nodded, sure, I'm trying to lose weight lately. Shen Lang handed her the 2 bags of chestnuts. Do you want salty or original? Salty, original doesn't taste good. Su Lishuan studied the 2 bags for a moment, then took the salty chestnuts, handing over the sweet ones to Shen Lang. Here, your sweet chestnuts. Thanks. Shen Lang sighed in relief. He hadn't expected such an easy way to start a conversation, and it felt surprisingly natural to exchange chestnuts as a way to break the ice. They both walked silently for a while, but the distance between them was quite wide. Shen Lang then noticed her school uniform. It was from Zhuhai University. He had graduated from Zhuhai University half a year ago, so they were technically alumni. The system options appeared again. 1. Surprised, wait, you're from Zhuhai University. I just graduated this year, we're alumni. 2. Suggestive grin, nice uniform, you must be from Zhuhai University, right? I've heard girls there have a good time. Can you introduce me to a few? 3. Raising an eyebrow with a smile, hey, beautiful, quick question, what's your WeChat? Shen Lang nearly choked on the second and third options. If he had chosen those, he would probably be reported for harassment. Pretending to be surprised, he said, wait, you're from Zhuhai University too? Su Lishuan turned to him in surprise, oh? You are? Shen Lang smiled warmly, I graduated earlier this year. I didn't expect to meet an alum here. Really? I didn't expect to run into an alum outside like this. Su Lishuan smiled sweetly, and Shen Lang's heart melted. He felt like rushing to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get married immediately. The system provided more options. 1. Start eating chestnuts, pretend the flavor is off, and offer her a taste to create a little physical interaction and close the distance. 2. Sternly scold her, you should be calling me senior. Whereas your manners. 3. Suddenly pull her into your arms, gently warn her about the traffic. Shen Lang laughed and responded, yeah, I didn't expect it either. He opened the sweet chestnut bag, took a bite, and then frowned, these chestnuts taste a bit off, like they are bad. Really? Su Lishuan sounded surprised. Shen Lang handed her the bag, here, try it. Without much hesitation, Su Lishuan walked over, took a chestnut, and chewed thoughtfully. After a moment, she smiled, it tastes fine to me. Maybe the one you had earlier was bad. Yeah, that could be it. Shen Lang nodded thoughtfully. That's not too bad for you. Su Lishuan smiled playfully, you know, last time I bought chestnuts at Wonder Plaza, half of them were bad. I was so mad. Shen Lang laughed, har har, that's really unlucky. Didn't you go back and ask for a refund? The seller's all tattooed, I didn't dare. Har har, then there's really nothing you can do. Although the conversation seemed trivial, it somehow made the atmosphere between them much more relaxed. As they walked, Shen Lang followed the system's prompts and kept the conversation flowing with topics that Su Lishuan seemed interested in. When they hit on subjects she cared about, she would talk non-stop, sharing her opinions. In just a few minutes, the two went from strangers to enthusiastic conversationalists. Su Lishuan was also surprised by how easily she connected with this guy. She didn't know why, but she just enjoyed the vibe of their chat, even though they were talking about seemingly insignificant things. It felt comfortable, as though they were on the same wavelength. Chapter 6, Damn it, I don't want to be a goblin anymore. The two of them talked and laughed as they walked to a red light fork in the road, and the smile on Sulishwan's face never stopped. He didn't expect that the boy in front of him was so funny, much more interesting than those boys in school who only knew how to show off their wealth and ask for WeChat. Sulishwan noticed the fork in the road ahead, and she felt a little disappointed. She had to go to the bus station across the road to take a bus back to school. Zhuhai University is not far from this snack street, and the bus stops in 2 stops. On weekdays, students often can't stand the food in the cafeteria and take the bus here to find food. I wonder if he is on the same road. Sulishwan has become a little obsessed with the feeling of chatting with this boy, even though the two have only known each other for less than half an hour. Sulishwan was a little surprised why she had such an idea. I have to go to the other side to take a bus. Walking to the traffic light at the fork in the road, Sulishwan smiled and pointed to the bus stop across the road, and asked tentatively, "Where are you going?" Shen Lang was a little speechless for a while, because he lived in a different community from Sulishwan. But after chatting for so long, Shen Lang didn't even get the other party's WeChat. If they parted like this, would they have a chance to meet again next time? Would she come to this snack street to buy chestnuts to eat? Just when Shen Lang was brainstorming, the system options appeared again. 1. Raised eyebrows and invited. I live in Fulong community, my bed is big and soft, do you want to visit it? 2. Said mysteriously, my cat can breathe fire, do backflips, and speak human language. I will tell you this secret alone. Do you want to go to my house and take a look? 3. Friendly smile, different roads, but I am very familiar with the surroundings. Do you want to add WeChat? Next time you come, I will take you around the surroundings. After rejecting the answer to option 1, Shen Lang hesitated between options 2 and 3. Both answers are more reasonable. But Shen Lang prefers option 3. He wants Sulishwan's contact information. But when the words came to his lips, Shen Lang hesitated to say it. It was the first time he asked a girl for WeChat, and it was such a beautiful girl. Many passers-by waiting for traffic lights came around one after another. In their spare time, many passers-by were quietly looking at the beautiful girl in front of Shen Lang. In this state of being watched by everyone, Shen Lang, who was already socially anxious, was even more embarrassed to speak. He smiled woodenly, did not choose any of the answers provided by the system, pointed in the direction of the community, and forced out a few words. My home is over there. Is that so? The smile on Sulishwan's face obviously dimmed a lot. The light was green at this moment, and passers-by began to walk across the street. Sulishwan smiled friendly, then looked up at Shen Lang, with a tentative tone, then. I'll go over and take the bus. Oh, okay. Shen Lang regretted it very much, but still had a stiff smile on his face, and then watched Sulishwan follow the crowd to the other side of the street. Fuck you, what's so cowardly about that? After Sulishwan disappeared in the crowd, Shen Lang laughed at himself again. Is it so difficult to just ask for a WeChat account? She won't eat people. Why do you care what other people think? After more than 10 minutes of chatting, Shen Lang was too absorbed in the conversation with Sulishwan and did not notice how much Sulishwan's favorability towards him had increased. But during the communication just now, Sulishwan's smile never stopped. Shen Lang felt that if he had asked for WeChat just now, the other party would definitely agree. Unfortunately, Shen Lang, who was socially anxious, was too embarrassed to ask a girl for WeChat in public. Ooh. Shen Lang sighed melancholy, holding the cold chestnuts, like a zombie, staggering towards the community in the bleak sunset. A few minutes later, a familiar female voice came from behind. Wait a minute. Shen Lang's eyes suddenly froze, holding the chestnuts, and looked back suddenly. Under the brilliant golden glow of the setting sun, Sulishwan, wearing a school uniform, ran towards Shen Lang quickly, holding the chestnuts. As she ran, her long black hair was dyed golden by the setting sun, flying gorgeously on her shoulders, like an active golden elf. Soon, Sulishwan ran in front of Shen Lang, then bent down and pressed her knees breathlessly. It seemed that she was not very good at sports. What happened? Shen Lang asked, flattered. He didn't expect that the female elf who was about to disappear in the forest would actually return by herself. Sulishwan took a few deep breaths before recovering, and then asked a little embarrassedly, You said just now, do you live nearby? Well, it's in the community not far ahead. Shen Lang answered truthfully nervously, and guessed the purpose of Sulishwan running back to find him with anxiety and expectation. Well, I just started school, and the food in the school cafeteria is bad, and this street is the only place nearby where you can eat. Su Lishuan took out her phone with a Pikachu phone case, and blocked it in front of her with some embarrassment, looking at Shen Lang with only slightly shy eyes. So can you at WeChat? Next time I come, can you take me to find some delicious shops? Shen Lang looked at the shy girl in front of him in disbelief. He didn't expect Su Lishuan to come back so breathlessly, and actually wanted to take the initiative to add his WeChat. Of course, I'm familiar with this area. I've lived here for 2 or 3 years. Shen Lang came back to his senses, took out his phone in a hurry, and added Su Lishuan as a WeChat friend. The music that didn't want to be early was her WeChat ID. After adding Shen Lang's WeChat, Su Lishuan smiled happily. Then I'll go back first. I've made an appointment with my roommate to eat chestnuts and watch horror movies together in the evening. Shen Lang nodded excitedly. Okay, go slowly on the way, just send me a message before you come next time. Well, I'll go back first. Bye Senior Shen, see you next time. Under the magnificent sunset, Su Lishuan smiled sweetly and waved at Shen Lang. This sweet smile, as bright as the stars, reminded Shen Lang of a dog-licking statement in the comment area of many beautiful bloggers. Mom, I'm in love. Well, bye. Looking at Su Lishuan, who was gradually going away, Shen Lang waved his hands foolishly behind his back. Until Su Lishuan walked across the street and took the bus, Shen Lang woke up from his dream and picked up his mobile phone to open WeChat. Looking at the WeChat that had just been added, Shen Lang's mouth corners gradually rose. The sun was setting, and in the evening sunset, Shen Lang couldn't help but raise his arms and shout, "Damn it, I don't want to be a goblin anymore." Chapter 7, 3 Major Illusions in Life. System, how much has Su Lishuan's favorability towards me increased? Walking on their way home, Shen Lang couldn't wait to communicate with the system in his mind. From Su Lishuan's behavior just now, Shen Lang was both happy and excited that her favorability towards him must have exceeded 20. Ding! Su Lishuan's favorability towards their host is 7 points in total. Please keep up the good work. How much? The mechanical electronic sound in his ear made Shen Lang's expectation fall to the bottom. System, are you mistaken? The atmosphere between the two was so harmonious just now. Su Lishuan took the initiative to ask for Shen Lang's WeChat and even called him Senior Shen Lang sweetly. But why is this favorability only 7 points? It's less than the landlord's wife. It is indeed 7 points. Please keep up the good work. She took the initiative to add my WeChat. Why is the favorability so low? Recalling Su Lishuan's sweet smile and comparing it with the pitiful favorability, Shen Lang couldn't help feeling a little frustrated. He felt that if there was only this little favorability, Su Lishuan would not take the initiative to add his WeChat. Could it be that she is a scumbag? Otherwise, how could she take the initiative to add his WeChat with such a little favorability? Host, the other party called you senior out of politeness. In your previous chats, the host chose the correct answer that matched the other party's orientation. The omnipotent system comforted and explained, girls of her age like funny and humorous boys, so she will add you on WeChat. After the system explained, Shen Lang finally came back to his senses from the inexplicable loss. Isn't this the 3 major illusions in life? I can fight back. She called me on the phone. She likes you. In fact, this is also normal. Shen Lang, who is introverted, has not met many girls. It is normal to meet such a beautiful, sunny, cheerful and polite girl for the first time and think that she likes you when she asks for WeChat. To put it another way, if the other party has a great impression of you just because you chatted for more than 10 minutes, Shen Lang would think that she is a little too casual, which is definitely not his fault. The type I like. What's more, Su Lishuan at least has a lot of favorability towards me. It's better than those lickers who have been licking for several years or even more than 10 years, but have never said a few words to the goddess, right? When a boy pursues a girl, isn't he afraid that he will give everything, but the other party will still be as solid as a rock? Thinking of this, Shen Lang quickly let it go. In fact, chasing a girl is just like fighting a boss in a game. As long as you follow the strategy, there will be no mistakes. What's more, Shen Lang is a player who plays games with plug-ins, so he is naturally fearless. Shen Lang took out his mobile phone, found Su Lishuan's WeChat, and sent a message, "Have you arrived at school?" After waiting for a while, the WeChat notification sounded. It's just that it was not sent by Su Lishuan, but by the landlord's wife who added in the afternoon. Flowers bloom in all seasons. Xiaoshen, have you eaten? Do you want to come to my house for dinner? I made it myself. Snickering. This message was followed by a screenshot of several home-cooked dishes that looked pretty good. There was also a little girl with pigtails in the screenshot, holding chopsticks with both hands raised high, sitting across the table with a smile, very cute. 1. Thank you, Sister Shia, these dishes look very appetizing, but I've eaten them before, so I can only eat them next time. 2. Madam Landlord, please respect yourself. We've only known each other for less than half a day and you've called me to your house. I'm a virgin. 3. The dishes are very good, they look very appetizing. This little girl is your daughter, Sister Shia, right? She's so cute. After rejecting option 2, Shen Lang thought about the answers to 1 and 3. Both of them were reasonable. Just when Shen Lang was about to choose one, he suddenly thought of the previous answer. A short video I got. The short video said that if you want to increase the interest of a divorced lady or a widow, you have to be crazy about her children. Shen Lang didn't know what kind of family situation Xia Shui was in. But since she dared to invite a boy to her house so blatantly, it means that she should be divorced or her husband is not at home. What's more, this little girl is really cute, and Shen Lang also wanted to praise her from the bottom of his heart. Shen Lang typed out the answer to option 3 and sent it with a thumbs up emoticon. Just a moment later, the system prompt sounded in Shen Lang's ears. Ding! Xia Shuyi's favorability towards the host increased by 5 points, currently 15 points, please keep up the good work. Oh my god, one sentence increased by 5 points. The short video really doesn't lie to me. While Shen Lang was delighted, Xia Shui also sent a message, just a little naughty, making a fuss all day long, like a tomboy. Laugh and cry, laugh and cry. While she was being modest, the message still came with a screenshot of a little girl. It seemed that she really cared about her daughter. Actually, it made sense. Who in the world doesn't like their own children? Not to mention that it was a single woman like Xia Shui who might be divorced. She must have regarded her children as more important than ordinary families. Har har, girls are more naughty when they are young. My sister was like this when she was young. So, Shen Lang began to focus on chatting about Xia Shuyi's daughter. Xia Shuyi's chatterbox seemed to be opened, and her reply changed from text to voice messages. After chatting for about 10 minutes, Shen Lang declined, then Sister Xia, I just finished my meal here. I'll come to your house for dinner next time. Flowers in seasons, yeah. Cute. Looking at the emoticons behind the message, Shen Lang couldn't help but laugh out loud. Big sister is so cute that it's hard to resist. Ding! Xia Shuyi's favorability towards their host has increased by 9 points, currently 24 points, please keep up the good work. This is too fast. Shen Lang swallowed his saliva in a confused manner. He didn't quite believe the scumbags that were exposed on the internet before. The news said that they could coax a girl they just met into bed within a day, cheat all the other party's assets in 2 days, and cheat the girl out of both money and people in 3 days. Shen Lang felt that girls in today's society are she is as smart as a monkey, how can she be so easily fooled? Now it seems that those are not exaggerations. Shen Lang even thinks that if he chats well, he may not need a day to turn a girl into a woman. The chatting skills are really too exaggerated, too much to control people's hearts. Thinking about the gossip on the internet, looking at Xia Shuyi's cute expression pack, Shen Lang can't help but think of the landlady's charming young woman figure. If Xia Shuyi's favorability towards him is full, can he play some adult games with this big sister? Chapter 8, The Female Elf Who Loves Horror Movies. Don't think that Xia Shuyi's favorability towards Shen Lang is only 24 points now. You have to know that the two have known each other for less than 2 hours and have not talked about much. What's more, this is the favorability value, the most straightforward opinion of the opposite sex in their hearts about you, which is equivalent to the score sheet of the opposite sex's various performances towards you. To put it in a vulgar way, this is the access card that can be used to judge whether a girl is willing to have an in-depth communication with you. Just a few words can make a woman like Xia Shui, who has a wide range of knowledge, increase her favorability so much, which shows how exaggerated the system's ability is. It is definitely not comparable to those scumbags on the internet who abandon their love after having sex. Of course, the system also said that it will calculate the option answer for Shen Lang to choose based on the other party's information. Whether the other party can increase their favorability towards him or not, it still depends on Shen Lang himself. After returning home, Su Lishuan's chat box lit up, just finished taking a shower, and was about to watch a horror movie with my roommate. The number one horror movie in South Korea, Gonjiam. So proud. The proud expression was followed by a selfie screenshot. Shen Lang clicked on the screenshot to enlarge it, and suddenly felt a little hot. The photo was of a laptop on the table, which was playing a horror movie. Just below the angle of view, there was a pair of slender and fleshy jade feet, with a little water stain on them, which really just took a shower. There were also several girls in the photo, and they were all pretty. Especially the short-haired girl who was eating potato chips closest to Su Lexuan. Her appearance was not inferior to Su Lexuan at all. A beautiful melon seed face, a pair of shining big eyes, a cherry mouth under the high nose bridge, and fair skin so tender that water could condense. Except for this short-haired girl, all the other girls were trembling and hugging pillows, looking like they wanted to see but didn't dare to. This photo should have been taken casually, and Shen Lang also felt that Su Lexuan was not the kind of girl who would take pictures of her legs for a boy as soon as she met him. Sure enough, Su Lexuan quickly withdrew the screenshot and sent an awkward emoticon. Did you see it? 1. I saw it, I want to lick it from beginning to end. 2. I didn't see it, what did you withdraw? 3. I saw it, your roommate is too timid, this movie is not very scary. To be honest, Shen Lang, who is seriously obsessed with legs, really wants to choose one. This jade foot is really a kind of beauty. If he can choose one answer, Shen Lang believes that there will definitely be a red exclamation mark in his WeChat chat box. I saw it, your roommate is too timid, this movie is not very scary. Laugh and cry. Shen Lang still chose 3 answer. Anyway, if we continue chatting, sooner or later we will be able to play with this pair of jade feet with our own hands. Su Lexuan just wanted to take a photo of watching a horror movie with his roommates for Shen Lang, but he accidentally took a photo of his roommates and legs. Fortunately, the other party did not notice these things at the first time, and only paid attention to their computer screen, so he breathed a sigh of relief, and his hands were excited and lightly pressed on the screen. Come on, this is the number one horror movie in South Korea. I heard that it scared people to death on the day it was released. It's not that exaggerated. I watched this movie alone, and I watched it at night. Then you are really amazing. Anyway, I dare not watch horror movies alone, but I can't help but like to watch them. I am almost the same as them, both naive and playful. Laughing and crying. 1. Don't watch it if you are timid. It's easy to get scared. 2. What's the name of the short-haired girl next to you? Can you send me her WeChat? 3. Share the 30-second video in Douyin collection with her, and tell her to learn the routine in the video, so she won't be afraid. The 30-second video in Douyin collection list. Shen Lang opened his Douyin in surprise, found the 30-second video in his collection list and played it, and immediately couldn't help laughing out loud, and sent the video to Su Lexuan. I'll teach you a way, follow the method above, and you won't be afraid of watching horror movies in the future. Really? Su Lexuan curiously clicked on the Douyin video sent by Shen Lang. The content of the video is that a girl is watching a horror movie, and the fierce ghost scares the girl as soon as it comes out. But the next second, the girl immediately took out her mobile phone to play in the garden with baby, clapping and cheering herself up, and followed the in the garden with baby and shouting marker barker with lingering fear. Har har har, I'm laughing to death. Su Lexuan laughed coquettishly after watching it, and several roommates who were watching horror movies next to him cast surprised eyes. Su Lexuan saw this and subconsciously lowered the screen of his mobile phone. Then he lay on the bed facing the wall and typed with a smile. I am dying of laughter. Your video is so funny. Laughing and crying. How is it? Do you feel less scared? Doghead. Yeah, you don't say it, but I dare not do this in the dormitory. My roommates thought I was crazy just now. Ding. Su Lexuan's favorability towards their host has increased by 2 points. It is currently 9 points. Please keep up the good work. Hearing the sound of the system in his ear, Shen Lang was even more motivated. It seemed that he had talked about something that the other party was interested in. In the following time, Shen Lang thought about choosing the correct answer provided by the system. After each correct answer was sent, Su Lexuan's feedback was very quick. Sometimes, after Shen Lang finished typing a sentence, Su Lexuan had already sent the third sentence. And the more they talked, the more emoticons Su Lexuan had. At the end or beginning of each sentence, there were cute emoticons with a girlish heart. Shen Lang could faintly sense from Su Lexuan's reply that she was eager to communicate with him. Until the end of a 2-hour horror movie, Su Lexuan was still immersed in the cheerful chat atmosphere with Shen Lang. She didn't notice that several roommates had quietly climbed onto her bed and secretly observed her chat history with Shen Lang. Is it really so delicious? Then next time you come, can you take me to eat? Let's go AA, or I'll treat you. It was not until a roommate read out Su Lexuan's message in a strangled voice that Su Lexuan suddenly came back to her senses and found that several roommates were all smiling with, on their faces, looking at her with ghost eyes. What are you doing? Su Lexuan blushed and her heart beat fast and turned off the screen of her phone, fearing that these guys would find out her chat history with Shen Lang. Le Shen, which department is he from? Le Shen, is he handsome? Is he the one who asked you for WeChat a few days ago? The one from the finance department. Tell me, Le Shen, we promise not to tell anyone else. The gossip spirits of the roommates were burning. They didn't expect that Su Lexuan, who usually kept people at a distance, the white moonlight that countless boys in the school dreamed of, could actually chat with a boy so devotedly. Chapter 9. Do you think he is a scumbag? If other boys knew that Su Lexuan was chatting with a boy just now, they dared to guarantee that Su Lexuan's admirers would definitely flock to Zhuhai University's forum and dig 3 feet into the ground to dig this boy out. No, don't think too much, he's just an ordinary friend. Su Lexuan pretended to be calm and quibbled, changing the subject with a slightly red face. Aren't you watching a horror movie? Why do you care about me so much? My Shen, the horror movie has been over for a long time. How obsessed are you with this boy? A roommate complained unhappily, and then murmured with expectation and curiosity, I'm curious about what charm this guy has that can fascinate the campus beauty of our Zhuhai University like this. I said it's not. Wait, the movie is over. Su Lexuan looked at the laptop screen in disbelief, and it was playing lines of subtitles in the Korean dialect. This is a 2-hour horror movie. In other words, he and Shen Lang chatted for more than 2 hours. This time passed too quickly. Seeing that Su Lexuan refused to admit that this was his boyfriend, several roommates didn't dare to ask any more questions. Some took a shower, some recited words, and the dormitory suddenly became noisy. The short-haired girl just now closed the horror movie webpage, then opened the game to prepare for ranking. Le Shen. Taking advantage of the free time of the match, the short-haired girl glanced at her roommate who was listening to English words with headphones, and then couldn't wait to climb onto Su Lexuan's bed, lowering her voice and asking expectantly. Is this person from our school? I've been your best friend for 7 or 8 years, you can't even tell me. The short-haired girl is called Shen, a friend Su Lexuan has known since junior high school. The relationship between their parents is also very good. They can be regarded as childhood sweethearts who grew up together, like sisters, and good girlfriends who wear the same pants. Except for some personal issues, there are basically no secrets between them. Unlike the cheerful and sunny Su Lexuan, Shen is an out-and-out scumbag, but the kind on the internet. Shen is a game fan, and she has been involved in many games. It's a pity that as a clumsy player, she is not very good at playing games and is often criticized by teammates. So, Shen started to create accounts in major game forums and posted her beautiful photos to attract those game geeks and singles to help her score points. In addition, Shen's voice is very sweet and charming, and her chat skills are even more refined, often making those game geeks dizzy. Even some well-known male anchors have been Shen's thugs. But as long as the other party asks to meet in person or video chat, Shen will decisively kick this thug and find the next sucker who helps her score for free. For her, games are games and reality is reality. She doesn't like decadent boys who stay at home playing games all day and have no ambition at all. Of course, if he is very handsome, then it can be considered. Oh, it's really not. Su Lexuan blushed and muttered, I just met him when I went out to buy chestnuts in the afternoon, how could he be my boyfriend? He asked you for your WeChat after knowing you for only 10 minutes? More importantly, you gave it back to him. Shen asked in disbelief, when did you become so casual? Su Lexuan opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but didn't know where to start. He was even more embarrassed to tell her that he took the initiative to ask Shen Lang for his WeChat. Hiss. You didn't meet a scumbag, did you? Shen reminded him vigilantly, Li Hai from the economics department has been pursuing you for several months. He bought you breakfast and drove a sports car to ask you to watch a movie, but you didn't even say hello to him. No way, he was very nervous when he talked to me, and he seemed a little socially anxious. Su Lexuan replied truthfully. Bad guys are good at acting. Yishinshin earnestly instructed, let me see what you guys talked about. As your best friend, I have to check for you. Su Lishuan thought about it, and handed the phone to Yishinshin, and opened her chat history with Shen Lang. Although Yishinshin is a scumbag on the internet, for Su Lishuan, this best friend is also a love expert who has seen countless men. Yishinshin reviewed it for a long time, and her heart was inexplicably throbbing. This boy is really good at chatting. From Su Lishuan's cute emoticons, it can be seen that the other party is unconsciously disintegrating the reserved defense line that Su Lishuan has established bit by bit. Su Lishuan also pretended to be reserved at the beginning, but later he got more and more excited. If it weren't in the dormitory, without roommates around, Yishinshin believed that this silly best friend would definitely have a voice chat with the other party, or even a video call. Su Lishuan was a little surprised. He didn't feel the time passed so quickly when they were chatting. Now that he started to review, Su Lishuan was shocked to find that he and Shen Lang had talked about so many things. What do you think? Do you think he is a scumbag? Su Lishuan looked at Yishinshin, who was serious, a little nervous. As for why he was nervous, Su Lishuan himself didn't know why. Maybe he was worried that if Shen Lang was really a scumbag, should he break off contact with him? I feel a little, but I'm not sure. Yishinshin gave an ambiguous answer. In the chat records, Shen Lang's replies were relatively friendly and normal. There was no deliberate lead to the topic that Su Lishuan liked, and the content of the two people's chat was also very ordinary. It would be a bit of an exaggeration to judge that the other party was a scumbag based on this alone. By the way, you can see it by looking at his circle of friends. Yishinshin suddenly realized and patted Su Lishuan's white thigh. Su Lishuan rubbed his thigh and asked curiously, what can be seen from the circle of friends? Stupid, our scumbag girl's circle of friends will exude a kind of availability, creating a feeling that I am single and very easy to pursue. Yishinshin explained clearly, boys are similar, but they will add some sad atmosphere on the basis of availability, such as just breaking up. As long as a girl is fooled and chats with him to comfort him, his goal is achieved. The simple Su Lishuan was confused and finally smiled awkwardly, gooey, your circle is really messy. Hee, although I am also a scumbag, I didn't cheat on those boys in other things, I just asked them to help me get points. Yishinshin stuck out her tongue and smiled to defend herself, where do you think I got so many king accounts? Chapter 10, I've been walking on thin ice all my life. After making fun of her, Yishinshin opened Shen Lang's moments. A moments that I slept through the night. Shen Lang's moments were not set to be visible for 3 days, and anyone who was a friend could enter and exit at will. November 24th, extraordinary master rank, 21 kills, details determine success or failure, and the king is no accident. November 28th, new version of Shovel scored 1000 points in both servers, so proud. December 21st, it's almost New Year's Eve, in the new year, I'll try to earn a down payment. December 23rd, I've been walking on thin ice all my life, can I make it to the other side in this life? It's okay for a boy to be socially anxious, and it doesn't matter if he stays at home every day, and it doesn't matter if he doesn't have a girlfriend. But if he has so much free time to stay at home, if his gaming skills are still not good enough, then he can really go back to school. Shen Lang's gaming skills are very high, and he often plays with professional players and famous anchors. Except for his daily writing work, Shen Lang spends most of his time immersed in the ocean of the gaming world. Shen Lang had the idea of becoming a gaming anchor a long time ago, but unfortunately, because of his social phobia and poor speaking skills, he threw this idea behind him. Therefore, Shen Lang's circle of friends is almost entirely about gaming topics, or some self-disciplined copywriting to encourage himself to make progress. Yishinshin searched from beginning to end, but did not find the so-called availability topic. Well, it seems not. Yishinshin returned the phone to Su Lishuan, and then teased, didn't you say before that you like the type of gentlemanly villain? Why do you like this kind of game geek now? Oh, I already said it, just an ordinary friend, I don't even know what he does. Su Lishuan refuted a little embarrassedly, and then asked curiously, also, just looking at the moments, can you tell that he is not a scumbag? First of all, the moments are not set to be visible for 3 days, which shows that this is a boy with no scheming, and in addition. Yishinshin couldn't help laughing and said, have you seen that the moments of a scumbag are all about games? If they are all scumbags, then those boys who help me score all day long are not all romantic saints. However, this guy is quite good at playing games. Yishinshin locked the cat and prepared to lie down, then turned to Su Lishuan and said, "If you don't talk to him, remember to push the contact information to me. I also want to reach the king level with my secondary account. It's only been a short time since we met. Who wants to talk to him? I don't even know what he does." Su Lishuan muttered proudly, then took the phone and got into the bed, looking at Shen Lang's moments with clear eyes, revealing a faint smile. It's good that he's not a scumbag. Just moved to the new house, except for some simple daily necessities delivered last night, there is nothing at home. The next morning, Shen Lang woke up early and rode his electric donkey to the supermarket near the community to purchase supplies. Around 9 o'clock, Shen Lang rode his electric donkey back to their community. This community is more convenient than other communities. There is a special charging hall for electric vehicles, so there is no need to bring down a special wire from upstairs. Shen Lang. Just as Shen Lang charged his electric vehicle, a familiar female voice came from behind him. It was the landlord's wife Xia Shui. Xia Shui was also holding a little girl with a ponytail, the little girl in the photo yesterday. The weather was good today. Xia Shui was wearing a black chiffon jumpsuit. Her black hair was piled up high. The neckline under her slender and white neck revealed a large area of snow-white skin and sexy collarbone. This graceful and hot figure, attractive and plump curves, full of the charm of a mature housewife. Shen Lang noticed that Xia Shui was also holding a supermarket shopping bag in her hand. The logo of the supermarket was the same as the shopping bag in Shen Lang's hand. There were some fruits and vegetables in it. Shen Lang smiled and tried to find a topic to talk about. "Sister Xia, did you go shopping at Baihui? I didn't see you just now." Xia Shui smiled. "I did see you, but today is Saturday and there are too many people in the supermarket, so I didn't dare to call you." Quack tilde. Just when Shen Lang wanted to answer, the duck toy on the front of the electric car suddenly called. The culprit was startled, quickly retracted his little hand, and hurriedly ran to Xia Shui's legs, hugged Xia Shui's plump thighs, hid his little head in Xia Shui's pomegranate skirt, and occasionally poked his head out, curiously looking at the tall big brother in front of him who was chatting with his mother. "See, the little girl is very naughty." Xia Shui rubbed her daughter's head with a bad smile, and her seemingly disdained words were full of love. It can be seen that Xia Shui really loves her daughter. Shen Lang smiled disapprovingly, and then the system options appeared again. 1. Take down the duck toy and give it to Xia Mengmeng, ask her age or grade, and have friendly interaction. 2. Seriously educate Xia Mengmeng and warn her that if she steals needles when she is young, she will steal gold when she grows up. 3. Squat in front of Xia Mengmeng and say to her with a smile, "This duck is not fun, do you want to see your brother's big duck?" Girls are naughty when they are young. My sister was so worrying when she was young. Shen Lang took the duck toy off the front of the car, squatted in front of Xia Mengmeng, took the duck toy and squeezed it twice, making a quacking sound. "Mengmeng, come here, brother will give you this duck." "No need, Xiaoshen." Xia Shui shook her hand indifferently. "It's okay, PDD bought it cheaply, it cost a few dollars." Xia Mengmeng stretched out her hand, but soon retracted it, raised her head and looked at her mother expectantly with her big round eyes. "Silly girl, why don't you thank your brother?" Xia Shui rubbed her daughter's head, her love was beyond words. Xia Mengmeng walked out from behind Xia Shui's legs, timidly took the duck, and said crisply, "Thank you, brother Shen." "You're welcome." Shen Lang smiled, raised his hand to rub the little girl's head, and then pretended to be curious and guessed, "Let me guess, Mengmeng is in the middle class of kindergarten this year, right?" "No." The little girl shook her head like a rattle, and corrected in a baby voice, "I'm already in the senior class." "Wow, senior class. Mengmeng is amazing." Shen Lang praised with a surprised look. Little did he know that Xia Shui had told Shen Lang all the basic information about this girl last night. The reason why Shen Lang deliberately guessed Xia Mengmeng's grade wrong was nothing more than wanting the little girl to proudly tell her real grade, so that Shen Lang could praise her. Most children want to show themselves in front of strangers, even if it's just something trivial. This is not the answer provided by the system, but Shen Lang's experience. Because there are two little girls like this in his family. It's a pity that they have grown up now. Chapter 11, Men Syndrome. Ding! Xia Shui's favorability towards their host has increased by 6 points, currently 30 points, please keep up the good work. Sure enough. Shen Lang rubbed the little girl's head and stood up. It seems that if you want to attract the attention of a single sister with a baby, no matter how much you care for her, it will never be better than being nice to her child. Xia Shui looked at the two people interacting with a relieved smile on her face. Such a warm picture made this divorced single woman, who had been empty for many years, feel an inexplicable sense of happiness. Xiaoshen, are you free at noon? Do you want to come to my place for lunch? Xia Shui said with a smile, you can only deal with it casually anyway, so why not come to my place and I'll make you sweet and sour pork ribs. 1. I want to, but what if your husband comes back and misunderstands? 2. I don't want to eat sweet and sour pork ribs, can you make me abalone? 3. Of course, I can, I also want to try your cooking skills, but will it be inconvenient? Yes, I can. I also want to try your cooking skills, Sister Xia. Shen Lang embarrassedly scratched his head, and was also trying to inquire about Xia Shui's family situation indirectly, but will it be inconvenient? Of course it is convenient. Xia Shui responded readily, and explained very generously, there are only me and my daughter at home. If there is anything inconvenient, you can come. Then I'd rather obey you than be respectful. Shen Lang then realized that Xia Shui was really a divorced woman, so he shyly agreed, Sister Xia, you live there, I'll go back to pick up the things. I'll come to see you when I get off the train. It's in building 3, 1702. Okay. It's getting late, I'll go back to cook. Xia Shui looked down at the little girl and reminded her, Meng Meng, say goodbye to Brother Shen. The little girl waved to Shen Lang very sensibly, and pinched the toy duck Shen Lang gave her, making a quacking sound, goodbye Brother Shen, thank you for your little duck. Well, you're welcome. Shen Lang waved to their mother and daughter, looking at Xia Shui's graceful back, his heart was inexplicably throbbing. How long have they known each other, and their relationship is so good that he can already go to her house for dinner. After simply arranging the daily necessities he bought at home and playing 2 more games, Xia Shui sent a WeChat message to tell Shen Lang that he could go over. Shen Lang was still quite nervous about going to a woman's house for dinner, and a single woman with a child. Shen Lang originally wanted to bring some fruit. But thinking that he was just going there for a simple meal, and that he would see each other every day, it would be too polite, so he went downstairs empty-handed. When he arrived at building number 3, Shen Lang smelled a scent of oil with a hint of sweetness as soon as he arrived at the door of Xia Shui's house. This traditional community would have a more down-to-earth atmosphere, and the neighbors would be more humane. If there were any small problems at home, the neighbors would be enthusiastic to help. Unlike those high-end communities, the neighbors who saw each other every day basically had no communication. Not only that, this community is also a real estate project in Jianghai City, a city where every inch of land is worth money. Even if the overall community looks inconspicuous, the assets of these buildings combined are at least hundreds of millions. Right now, the only owner of these buildings is the landlord's wife, who is worth hundreds of millions in the house in front of Shen Lang. Shen Lang rang the doorbell, and Xia Shui's voice came from inside the door, Meng Meng, little brother Shen is here, mom can't leave here, go open the door for him. Oh! After a burst of cheerful footsteps, the security door slowly opened, and a little head poked out, looking at Shen Lang cutely, and then showed a happy smile. Little brother Shen, you are here. Children are more familiar with others, and Shen Lang just gave her a good impression, and her mother seemed to like this tall big brother very much. Xia Meng Meng happily threw herself on Shen Lang's thighs, raised her little face and blinked her big eyes at him. Little brother Shen, mom made sweet and sour pork ribs today. Really? Shen Lang is very skilled in dealing with children. After closing the door, he lifted the little girl up with one hand and held her in his arms. Meng Meng, do you like sweet and sour pork ribs? The little girl was a little shy when Shen Lang held her in his arms like this, but she nodded gently and secretly looked at this enthusiastic big brother. Xiaoshen, you are here. Xia Shui heard the movement at the door and came out with a spatula. Sit down for a while, I will make some soup and then we can start eating. Shen Lang noticed that Xia Shui changed her clothes and wore a black hip skirt, which is the legendary stepmother skirt. The slender legs under the stepmother skirt were wrapped in flesh-colored stockings. Under this bold and provocative skirt, Xia Shui's bumpy body curves were perfectly reflected. When they first met, Shen Lang thought Xia Shui was just average. Unexpectedly, after putting on this set of clothes that showed off her figure, her temperament suddenly came up. It's really different when you look at a mountain from the side and a peak from the side, and it's different from far and near. Shen Lang only took a look and then said politely, no need to be so troublesome, just make something casually. No trouble, you watch TV with Meng Meng first, and it will be ready later. Xia Shui smiled and shook the spatula in her hand, and returned to the kitchen with a little disappointment. Have you gained weight recently? In the kitchen, Xia Shui looked down at her figure and sighed with some frustration. Xia Shui finally mustered up the courage to wear this bolder outfit. She thought Shen Lang would use this opportunity to praise her, but unfortunately his reaction was not very big. In the living room, Shen Lang and the little girl sat on the sofa and watched TV. The TV was playing cartoons, and the little girl kept explaining the content of the cartoons to Shen Lang. Shen Lang didn't have much in mind to watch, but he responded to the little girl enthusiastically, and curiously looked around the room of the mother and daughter, and finally his eyes fell on Xia Shui's back in the kitchen. From this angle, Shen Lang could just see Xia Shui busy in the kitchen. At this moment, she was chopping green onions skillfully, and from time to time she would lift the lid of the pot to see how the soup was cooking. Under this sultry stepmother skirt, Xia Shui's virtuous labor revealed sexiness, and sexiness revealed an inexplicable charm. Especially this plump and perky butt, round and plump. Any man who sees this scene would probably have the urge to rush over and hug her gently from behind. Add to that her status of being worth over 100 million yuan. Even if she is divorced with a child, I'm afraid she can make countless men suffer from Mendelian syndrome and be willing to fall at her feet, right? Chapter 12, I like older women. I want to sit with little brother Shen. After the meal was ready, Xia Mengmeng couldn't wait to push her own cartoon stool and sat next to Shen Lang with her hands and feet dancing. This cute move made Xia Shui smile. Look, it said that daughters are mother's little cotton padded jackets. It's only been a short time, and her elbows are bent outward. Shen Lang also liked this little girl very much. He raised his hand and picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs for her. The little girl ate happily, and her round eyes narrowed into a slit. Looking at the two people interacting intimately, Xia Shui showed a relieved and satisfied smile, and inexplicably felt a warm atmosphere called home. Lonely women like Xia Shui who are single and raise children and wait for them to return to their roots are quite a lot in Jianghai City, where material things are rampant. They have mansions worth millions, expensive and luxurious sports cars, and property that ordinary people would be afraid of for a lifetime, but they don't have love or family affection. Faced with luxurious furnishings and frighteningly large empty rooms, they have an indelible sense of loneliness in their hearts. They long to have a sense of belonging to an ordinary family and a sense of dependence on men, just like most ordinary women. But their own overly generous assets can only attract the favor of men with ulterior motives one after another. In such an environment and atmosphere, although they gradually become numb and get used to facing this materialistic society alone. But deep in their hearts, they always hope that there will be a man who can relieve their inner emptiness. For Xia Shui, this somewhat shy but very sincere young man in front of her seems to be the man she prefers. Ding! Xia Shui's favorability to their host has increased by 10 points, currently 40 points, please keep up the good work. Shen Lang almost choked on a mouthful of rice. He didn't do anything, so how come the landlord's favorability increased so much? After dinner, Xia Shui started to clean up the table. With Xia Shui's assets, she could hire a nanny to take care of the daily lives of her and her daughter. However, the reputation of nannies has not been very good recently. Xia Shui cares most about her baby daughter and does not want outsiders to interfere in the lives of her and her daughter. She took on these trivial matters on weekdays by herself. Sister Xia, let me help. Shen Lang rolled up his sleeves and prepared to help, but Xia Shui smiled and shook her head, giving Shen Lang a reproachful look. Go away, how can you ask guests to help? It's okay, I often work at home. Shen Lang put away all the plates in an orderly manner and walked to the kitchen. Oh, Xiaoshen, you are too polite. Xia Shui followed behind him with a smile, and the two stood in front of the sink, one on the left and one on the right, washing the dishes. Xia Shui glanced at Shen Lang who was washing the dishes seriously next to her, and couldn't help but feel that the two of them were like a couple, and her face turned slightly red. Ahem, Xiaoshen, I remember you said yesterday that you just graduated not long ago. Xia Shui coughed and took the lead to open the topic. What are you doing now? Shen Lang still knows this kind of basic communication. Don't be afraid of you laughing at me, Sister Xia, I'm an online writer. Online writer. Oh, I write novels on the internet. Wow, I didn't expect you to be a great writer. Xia Shui praised in surprise, but Shen Lang scratched his head shyly and complained self-deprecatingly. How can you be a great writer? You only make 5,000 or 6,000 yuan a month, and you only make porridge money. That's not bad. Xia Shui comforted like a close sister. Look at how difficult it is to make money in Jianghai City now. Many college students work hard to make only 2,000 or 3,000 yuan a month. You are already very good. It is said that most men like mature women, because they really understand some of men's unspeakable secrets. Whether in career or life, they can always use the simplest words to comfort the unbearableness deep in men's hearts. Xiaoshen, your girlfriend doesn't live with you. What does she do? Xia Shui asked again seemingly casually, staring at the dishes in the sink, but the force of washing dishes was slightly stronger. 1. I stay at home all day, how can I have the opportunity to meet girls? I don't dare to say anything when I see girls on the street. 2. I just met a girl yesterday, she is very beautiful, and she is from the same university as me. I am planning to pursue her. 3. What's the point of those little girls? I like married women, especially married women with children, I like them the most. Never talk about another woman in front of a woman. Even if Shen Lang is socially anxious, he still understands this truth. I stay at home all day, how can I have the chance to meet girls? Shen Lang laughed self-deprecatingly, I dare not say anything when I see girls on the street. Is that so? Xia Shui smiled sweetly, and her movements of washing dishes became gentle. Xiaoshen, what do you think? Crackle. Just when Xia Shui wanted to say something, there was a burst of firecrackers outside the window, which scared her. Xia Mengmeng covered her ears, jumped in, pulled Shen Lang's pants, pointed outside the window and shouted, Brother Xiaoshen, there are firecrackers outside, I can't see, carry me to see. Okay tilde. Shen Lang wiped the water stains on his hands, held the little girl's chubby little hand, lifted her up and put her on his neck to sit. The little girl also happily clamped Shen Lang's neck, shaking her short legs, and kept urging, hurry up, Brother Shen, the firecrackers are almost finished. Okay. Shen Lang smiled and nodded repeatedly, and asked when he left the kitchen, Sister Xia, what did you say just now? No, nothing. Xia Shui smiled guiltily, you accompany Meng Meng to watch the firecrackers, I guess the young couple across the street got married. Yeah. Shen Lang nodded, holding the little girl's thick legs and ran to the window, shouting happily, watch the firecrackers. Listening to Xia Mengmeng's joyful laughter, Xia Shui cursed secretly, stinky girl, you always ruin my good things. After washing the dishes, Xia Shui put the dishes and chopsticks in place, wiped the water stains on her hands and came to the living room. The scene by the window made this lonely single woman who had been lonely for several years startled. Her delicate face, which was marked by a trace of time, showed a relieved smile. Shen Lang was seen holding Xia Mengmeng on his neck, and Mengmeng was also happily pointing at the wedding cars coming and going outside. She was so happy that she couldn't close her mouth. When someone lit firecrackers, Xia Mengmeng even covered Shen Lang's ears attentively. The big and the small were both laughing very happily. The bright sunshine shone on the two of them. This warm scene, like a father taking care of his daughter, made Xia Shui smile foolishly and murmured involuntarily. It would be great if it could go on like this. Chapter 13, Did she divorce because her husband was not good enough? Ding! Xia Shui's favorability towards the host increased by 5 points, and is currently 45 points. Please keep up the good work. Listening to the voice of the system in his mind, Shen Lang turned his head in astonishment and saw Xia Shui leaning against the kitchen door, looking at him with an indulgent smile of relief. This kind of data that surveys the depths of a person's heart made Shen Lang touch his nose unnaturally and raised his hand to hold the noisy little guy off his neck. Sister Xia, it's getting late, I'll go back first. Play for a while, it's still early anyway. Xia Shui's tone was obviously a little reluctant. I bought some cherries today, I'll wash them for you and Meng Meng to eat. Yes, brother, play for a while. Xia Mengmeng was also reluctant to let Shen Lang leave. She liked this tall big brother very much, holding Shen Lang's big hand and acting coquettishly. Disapproving, what to play? Your daughter is at home, and you don't let me play, what are you doing staying? Complaining, oh, sister, you are so rich, you can play every day, I am different from you, I have to make money to eat. Playing hard to get, Sister Xia, I also want to play for a while, mainly if I don't update the novel today, I will lose my perfect attendance. I also want to play for a while, mainly if I don't update the novel today, I will lose my perfect attendance. Shen Lang squatted down and pinched Xia Mengmeng's soft face again, be good, next time brother comes to play, I will give you another little duck to play with. Okay then. The little girl pouted and nodded reluctantly. Then Xiaoshen, come back in the evening. Xia Shui invited again, I will stew black chicken soup in the evening, come and have some. Sorry, Sister Xia, I have to go back to my mother's place in the evening. Shen Lang scratched his head, wait a few days, come back to taste your cooking skills when you have time in a few days. Okay then. Xia Shui smiled helplessly and watched Shen Lang open the door and leave. The moment the door closed, looking at the deserted living room, an inexplicable sense of emptiness surged in Xia Shui's heart. For so many years, Xia Shui thought she had gotten used to this feeling of loneliness. But looking at the huge living room, her daughter who was depressed and pinching a duck toy on the sofa, Xia Shui still felt bad. Meng Meng, it's time for a nap. With a faint sigh, Xia Shui returned to the room and planned to change into pajamas for a nap. I don't want to take a nap, I want to play with little brother Shintilder. The little girl rolled on the sofa in a depressed mood. Be obedient. Xia Shui lazily said, and the WeChat notification sounded on her phone. Took out her phone and saw that it was from Shen Lang. She slept till dawn, sister, thank you for your hospitality today. Xia Shui smiled slightly and raised her jade finger to press on the screen. For season's peace, no, it's just a meal. If you are free, you can come every day. Sister welcomes you at any time. She slept till dawn, har har, okay, then I'll go and get busy first. For season's peace, yeah. Xia Shui subconsciously thought that Shen Lang had no more words to say, but she just went back to the bedroom and pulled down the shoulder straps of her skirt, and Shen Lang sent another message. Slept till dawn, also, sister, your dress is very nice, the skirt suits you very well, I was amazed when I came in, but I am socially anxious, so I am embarrassed to praise you in person. Looking at this message, Xia Shui was suddenly very surprised. She thought Shen Lang didn't pay attention to her changes, but it turned out that he had seen it when he came in. At this moment, Xia Shui was surprised and happy like a girl who was confessed by the man she liked, really. I thought that at my age, I am not suitable to wear such girls' clothes. Slept till dawn, no sister, it suits you very well. Thumbs up plus rose. For season's peace, thank you. Cute. The two chatted briefly for a while, and Xia Shui happily turned off the screen of her phone. After lying on the bed for a long time with her hot phone in her hands, Xia Shui got up and put away her old pajamas, and couldn't wait to walk to the mirror in small steps, twisting her slender waist left and right. Looking at herself in the mirror, the feeling of emptiness in her heart just now disappeared, replaced by an inexplicable excitement. She came to the dressing table in the bathroom, dressed herself up carefully for a long time, picked up her Chanel bag, stepped on the high heels she hadn't worn for a long time, and called her daughter happily. Meng Meng, let's go shopping with mom instead of taking a nap. Great, long live mom. Ding. Xia Shui's favorability towards their host has increased by 5 points, currently 50 points, please keep up the good work. Ding. Xia Shui's favorability towards their host has reached 50 points, would you like to check her personal information? Ding. Xia Shui's favorability towards their host has reached 50 points, and she has obtained a mysterious treasure chest, would you like to open it? Check personal information. Hearing the system prompt sound in his ear, Shen Lang couldn't wait to open Xia Shui's personal information. When Shen Lang returned home, he had no intention of continuing to chat with Xia Shui on WeChat. Just seeing that there were only 5 points left to see Xia Shui's personal information and get a mysterious treasure chest, Shen Lang took the initiative to chat with Xia Shui. With the help of the system, Shen Lang successfully broke through the 50-point requirement and obtained Xia Shui's personal information and a mysterious treasure chest. Name, Xia Shui. Gender, female. Age, 36. Appearance, 8.9. Height, 168 centimeters. Weight, 54 kilograms. Hobbies, yoga, shopping, playing mahjong. Measurements, 85 centimeters, 52 centimeters, 92 centimeters. Favorability towards their host, 50. Marital status, divorced with children. Current mood, excited, full of expectations for the future. Current location, Fulong Community Parking Lot. X experience, 12 times. R. Only 12 times. Shen Lang was stunned at first, and complained with a smile, could it be that she divorced because her husband is not good enough? Xia Shui is 36 years old this year, not to mention that she still lives with a child. In this case, her sexual experience is only 12 times, which is really too little. Thinking of Xia Shui's graceful figure, and looking at the pitiful number of times, Shen Lang felt a little hot in his heart. It is said that women of Xia Shuyi's age generally have great needs, and I don't know whether it is true or false. Xia Shuyi's favorability towards Shen Lang is only 50 points, which is only half of the full quota. But if this data is changed to other women, Shen Lang can definitely complete a home run by taking her out to see a movie and have a meal. In other words, whether it is a man or a woman, it is not necessary for the other party's favorability to reach 100 before the other party is willing to play some fun games with you. This kind of thing still depends on the other party's attitude and personality. If the other person is a more open or less reserved person of the opposite sex, they can play cards together directly when the favorability reaches 20 or 30 points. Therefore, 50 points of favorability is very high, equivalent to a girl in the climax of passionate love. Even a traditional woman like Xia Shuyi, who is well informed and more reserved, can't help but put on a stepmother skirt at home to attract Shen Lang's attention after reaching 50 points of favorability. Chapter 14. What is Lao Deng doing? Explode some gold coins. Shen Lang also found that the current location of the target is located in real time. Xia Shuyi's current location has changed from the parking lot of Fulong Community to the commercial street of Jianghai City. Shen Lang murmured thoughtfully, it seems that this is a function that can find out a person's background, or in other words, it is an ability to speed up the attack on the opponent. With the other party's hobbies and some detailed information, in the future strategy, Shen Lang can more accurately grasp the key points in the chat interaction and improve the other party's favorability towards himself. By the way, there is also a mysterious treasure chest. Shen Lang clapped his hands in sudden realization. System, open the mysterious treasure chest. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the physical strengthening liquid. Physical strengthening liquid. After drinking, the host's physical fitness will be greatly improved. Shen Lang's eyes suddenly lit up. Over the years, long periods of sitting and staying up late have caused various problems in his body. Who would have thought that a 24-year-old young man would suffer from sore waist and knees, dizziness, tinnitus, and mental depression? Shen Lang had been thinking about exercising for a long time. Unfortunately, he was in the late stage of laziness. Every time he wanted to exercise, he would wait 2 days, and his self-deceiving excuses were more perfect each time. Now with the physical strengthening liquid, Shen Lang can skip the torture brought by exercise and have a healthy and perfect body. After the system finished speaking, a bottle of dark green liquid appeared in Shen Lang's hand, like Lucian flower dew. Shen Lang didn't think much about it, unscrewed the thumb-sized lid, and poured the viscous liquid into his mouth without a drop left. In order not to waste it, Shen Lang also poured mineral water into the bottle and filtered it once before drinking it, and then threw the bottle away with satisfaction. The effect of the strengthening liquid was amazingly fast. In just a moment, Shen Lang's body began to heat up, as if he was in a sauna, and hot sweat was coming out of the pores all over his body. The muscles all over his body also felt a dull pain, as if tearing open the scars of the wound and letting new muscles come out from inside. The feeling was most obvious in the waist and abdomen, as if there were 2 hands doing corrective surgery inside. Shen Lang couldn't stand the heat, so he took off his wet clothes and rushed into the bathroom. After washing for about 10 minutes, the feeling of being remade disappeared. Shen Lang couldn't wait to come to the mirror in the sink, and what came into his eyes was a perfect wheat-colored body comparable to a bodybuilding sculpture. Especially the 8 abdominal muscles with water stains, clear contigs, and wall-like bricks. This body only exists in comics. Not to mention girls, Shen Lang, a grown man, was a little dumbfounded when he saw it, and kept groping up and down. The most visible thing in the mirror was the little Shen Lang, who had undergone earth-shaking changes. Wait! Shen Lang looked at himself clearly in the mirror, and finally said in disbelief and joy, my myopia is gone. Due to Shen Lang's overuse of his eyes in recent years, coupled with facing the computer screen all day every day, his myopia is almost 800 degrees. On weekdays, Shen Lang sees everything blurry without wearing glasses after taking a shower. Now Shen Lang is not wearing glasses, but he can see everything around him clearly, and his vision may even be better than that of ordinary people. It is completely a 1080 ultra clear 4K vision. Is this the physical strengthening liquid? It's so cool. Shen Lang squeezed his palms and felt that he had endless strength, and his heavy body gradually became lighter. After drying his hair and putting on clothes, Shen Lang's temperament became energetic. Unlike the previous depressed otaku, just looking at him gives people a sunny and healthy feeling. Damn, you are so handsome. Shen Lang turned on the front camera of his phone, looked at his unique self in the mirror, and couldn't help but flatter himself, I don't know which girl will be lucky enough to marry me in the future. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Shen Lang was just about to go out for dinner when the WeChat chat box popped up, and there were two messages. Vampire number 1, Old Deng, is the new house ready? I'm downstairs, come down to greet me. Vampire number 2, brother, my sister and I are at the gate of your community. The security guard won't let us in without the access card. Come down to pick us up. These two guys are none other than Shen Lang's two sisters, Shen Linlin and Shen Ranran. From the notes Shen Lang gave them, it can be seen how much Shen Lang is annoyed with these two annoying sisters. The two sisters have just turned 18, are currently in the second year of high school, and are in the same school. Although they are sisters, they are only a few minutes apart, but their personalities are very different. Sister Shen Linlin has been naughty and funny since she was young. She followed Shen Lang and his group of friends around all day. Girls sneered at things like taking bird eggs and blowing up manure pits, but this girl found them very interesting. Shen Linlin became even more rebellious when she grew up. She could speak the language of birds and flowers, and she was very good at speaking Zhuan dialect. Shen Lang even heard that this ruffian sister had fought with some gangsters outside the school. Since she was in junior high school, this girl has never called Shen Lang brother. She basically called him with disdain. Now she even calls him Lao Deng. Sister Shen Ranran is less of a worry. She has had good grades since she was young and has a good and obedient personality. The only shortcoming is that she loves to stick to Shen Lang too much. Since she was a child, she followed Shen Lang wherever he went like a tail. If Shen Lang didn't take her with him, she would keep making a scene, with a lot of snot and tears, and Shen Lang had to rack his brains to coax her. This is why Shen Lang is very good at dealing with children, all thanks to these two girls. The reason why Shen Lang called the two sisters vampires is that since Shen Lang graduated and started writing novels to make money, they have been trying every means to ask Shen Lang for money. From tens to hundreds, Shen Lang's hard-earned money from writing novels was basically all paid to these two girls. The most classic saying of the two sisters is, "What are you doing, Lao Deng? Blast some gold coins." Just then, the elder sister Shen Linlin was impatient and a video call popped up. Shen Lang didn't even want to answer the call, so he hung up directly and replied with a panda emoticon package in a bad mood, "Push a few more." Shen Linlin also replied with a panda emoticon package, "What? Dog barking." Shen Lang was so angry that he laughed at this girl. He really didn't understand why some boys like this thing called a sister. You can't hit her, you can't scold her, you can only coax her like a princess, she is completely sent by God to torture him. Take the key downstairs, come to the community square. Shen Lang saw two sisters chatting in school uniforms at the gate. Chapter 15, Who are you? The two sisters are easy to identify. Sister Shen Ranran tied a clean and beautiful high ponytail, with a bright and sweet smile on her face, and she never tired of chatting with her sister. Sister Shen Linlin has a capable short hair, with a contemptuous and arrogant smile on her face, and she spreads her hands from time to time to show a disdainful look. The two sisters are very good looking and very popular in their high school. Especially Sister Shen Ranran, with a sweet smile on her kind and enthusiastic personality, she is often flirted with by boys in the same school. Several of Shen Lang's dead otaku friends often complained that Shen Lang was picked up from outside by his parents. The two sisters are so beautiful, why is the brother's appearance not even one-third of theirs? Shen Lang's appearance is actually not low, but he is too low-key and dark on weekdays. In high school, he sat in the corner with his mobile phone and read novels all day long. In addition, after graduation, he stayed up all night without restraint. His appearance and temperament must have been affected. When Shen Lang approached the door, his sister Shen Ranran's face was suddenly filled with a happy smile. But when she was about to say hello, her smile stopped abruptly. Shen Linlin looked at Shen Lang in astonishment, as if she had seen an alien. Shen Lang raised his chin towards the two sisters with interest. "Why, don't you recognize your brother?" The atmosphere suddenly became quiet. The two sisters looked at each other. Zorn player Shen Linlin was surprised and spoke first. "Who are you?" "I am your brother." Shen Lang reminded unhappily, "It's only been a month since we last met, and you don't recognize me." Shen Linlin looked at the sunny and handsome guy in front of her from head to toe, and asked in disbelief, "No, you are Shen Lang." She couldn't believe that the sunny and handsome guy in front of her was actually her otaku brother who stayed at home playing games all day. Before the two sisters started school, Shen Lang's circle of friends did say that he would start self-discipline exercise. Shen Linlin also mocked him below that he must be fishing for 3 days and drying the net for 2 days. Who would have thought that in this month, this useless brother actually trained well, and the effect was so good, it was like he had been retrained. Shen Ranran rubbed Shen Lang's firm abdominal muscles, and lifted up Shen Lang's short sleeves, revealing his well-defined abdominal muscles, and said happily, "Wow, sister, look, I have abdominal muscles." Seeing the 8 wheat-colored abdominal muscles, Shen Linlin's heart jumped inexplicably, but she still said in a tone of, "That's it. That's it. TSK, it must be some protein powder, what's the big deal? Don't go crazy here." Shen Lang pinched Shen Ranran's cheek and pushed her away, straightened his short sleeves. "Stop talking nonsense, why are you here to find me? I have nothing to do after school, can't I come to play with you?" Shen Ranran came over again, hugged Shen Lang's arm and acted coquettishly. "Brother, which building do you live in? Take us to see it." Shen Lang sighed quietly, took the 2 sisters into the community, and came to the single suite where he lived. Shen Ranran looked around the room curiously, took out her mobile phone to record a video and sent it to her mother for review, and then asked in surprise, "Brother, you live here? How much a month?" Shen Lang threw the key casually on the table, $1,000. Shen Ranran nodded repeatedly, thinking that the price was acceptable. "It's as messy as a doghouse." Shen Linlin complained disdainfully, turned around and fell on Shen Lang's bed, took out her phone and lazily started to browse Douyin. Shen Ranran also sat on the bed, looking at Shen Lang stupidly, her slender legs shaking happily, and occasionally grinning at Shen Lang. The room suddenly became quiet, and Shen Linlin's voice of browsing Douyin was particularly loud. "Pay attention, this man is called Xie. Okay, don't bother me." Within a few minutes, Shen Lang began to dislike the sisters. "I'll book a hotel for you nearby, you can go to the hotel to play." Shen Ranran blinked. "Brother, did you pay for your articles?" "Well, I made a little money this month." As soon as Shen Lang finished speaking, he immediately regretted it. Shen Ranran immediately flashed over and hugged Shen Lang's waist and said coquettishly, "Brother, I've seen a piece of clothing recently, but I don't have enough money. My parents haven't received the relief money from the imperial court yet. You don't want your sister to live in school uniform all day, right? Just 500 yuan, sister, I only need 500 yuan. When I graduate and have money, I will definitely pay you back." Okay, when you have money, I will starve to death." Shen Lang pushed Shen Ranran's head away with disdain, but still took out his mobile phone and transferred 2,000 yuan to her. Shen Lang made a huge sum of 500,000 yuan from Xie Shui alone, and these 2,000 yuan were really not a big deal for him. What's more, this is his own sister. If he wasn't worried about his wealth being exposed, Shen Lang might give more. "Wow, 2,000. Shen Ranran's eyes lit up. "Brother, has any rich man given you a reward recently? You are so generous." "What? 2,000? Shen Linlin, who was lying on the bed watching Douyin, jumped up. "I want one too, Lao Deng, give me 2,000 too." Shen Lang crossed his arms and said proudly, "Sure, call me brother and I will transfer it to you." Shen Lang couldn't remember how long it had been since this girl called him brother, and she often mocked him on weekdays, and she looked like a little devil who deserved a beating all day long. Now that he had the opportunity, Shen Lang naturally had to teach this girl who always spoke sweet words to him a lesson. Shen Linlin was stunned at first, her face turned slightly red, and she picked up the pillow and threw it over. "Go to hell, old bitin." Shen Lang shrugged indifferently. "If you don't call me, then I won't. Get up quickly, I'm going out to eat." Who knew that Shen Linlin suddenly rushed over, hugged Shen Lang like an octopus, and raised her hand to grab Shen Lang's mobile phone to transfer money. As a girl, Shen Linlin is very strong, and some boys of the same age are ashamed of themselves. In the past, the weak Shen Lang was often forced to be held under the girl and his mobile phone was snatched away for transfer. But now Shen Lang is no longer the same as before. He grabbed Shen Linlin's waist and threw her directly on the bed, bounced, and almost fell to the ground. "Hee, do you think I've been practicing in vain recently?" Shen Lang looked at Shen Linlin, who was obviously stunned with pride. "Today is different from the past, stinky sister." Who knew that the next second, Shen Linlin threw a tantrum on the bed, crying and shouting, "Woo, I'm going to go back and tell my dad, you beat me." Looking at Shen Linlin, who was throwing a tantrum like a primary school student, Shen Lang's mouth twitched. "Don't complain." It was obvious that this girl was pretending, but Shen Lang had no way to deal with her, so he had to transfer 2,000 yuan to her. Hearing the notification sound of WeChat arrival, Shen Lin's crying stopped abruptly, and she smiled provocatively at Shen Lang like she succeeded. Hee, little guy tilde. Shen Lang's eyebrows jumped, looking at the two drama sisters in front of him, and complained with a smile, I owe you two living treasures in my previous life. Chapter 16, Sure, can we go AA? Around 7 o'clock in the evening, Shen Lang took the two sisters to the street, planning to eat hey did you. On the surface, Shen Lang disliked the two sisters very much, but after all, they were his sisters, and Shen Lang was still very caring for them. It was not easy to meet them once, and Shen Lang was reluctant to let them go back to school. After ordering food at Hey Did You, the two sisters chatted about some things about school and complained about their weird roommates. Anyway, they were all some trivial things about girls. Shen Lang listened quietly beside them, feeling inexplicably relieved, as if the girl next door had grown up. It must be said that time really flies. Now the two sisters are already in their prime, but the sisters' lively and cute appearance when they were young can never be erased from Shen Lang's mind. It would be better if they were not so annoying. Shen Lang sighed silently in his heart. Just then Su Lishuan sent a message. Lahu doesn't want to gossip early, so bored, what are you doing? Shen Lang thought for a moment and typed a reply, eating outside, what about you? Are you watching horror movies again? No, I'm in a daze in the dormitory. I don't know what to eat for dinner. I really don't want to eat food in the cafeteria. Lahu doesn't want to gossip early, tomorrow is Saturday. I thought college life would be so interesting, but I didn't expect it to be so boring. I really envy you, senior, for ending your miserable college life so early tilde. Su Lishuan's message was followed by a few seconds of video. In the video, Su Lishuan's roommates were playing with their phones or watching TV series, and Yishinshin next to them was also playing games comfortably. The last few seconds were Su Lishuan's selfie. He looked a little cute with his pouty mouth and a sullen look. 1. You're bored, but you're still going to college. Don't you think it's not easy for your parents to support you to go to school? 2. Your bed seems to be quite far away. No classmates should pay attention to you. If you're bored, just start a fight. 3. Do you want to hang out tomorrow? I'll treat you to roast duck. There's a famous roast duck restaurant in the place where we met last time. 1 and 2 were rejected decisively. Shen Lang knew that option 3 was also normal, but he was still a little nervous. If this message was sent out, it would be like asking Su Lishuan out. Shen Lang didn't know why he was nervous. Maybe it was because he was a loner who stayed at home for too long, so he was afraid that Su Lishuan would reject him. Damn, what a coward. Thinking of the last time he almost missed Su Lishuan, Shen Lang typed a reply with anticipation and inexplicable nervousness. Do you want to hang out tomorrow? I'll treat you to roast duck. There's a famous roast duck restaurant in the place where we met last time. After watching this message being sent, Shen Lang's heart beat extremely fast. This was the first time he took the initiative to ask a girl out for dinner, and he didn't know if the other party was willing to come out. After calming down, Shen Lang felt that the chances of Su Lishuan coming out for the date were still relatively high. Su Lishuan's roommate was right next to her, and she could have chatted with her roommate. But she took out her phone to chat with Shen Lang on WeChat, and even took a video to share her daily life. Shen Lang felt that this was a very obvious signal. This was a signal that the girl was sending out that she wanted to chat and socialize with you. She mentioned that Saturday was boring, hinting to Shen Lang that she really wanted to go out for a walk. Plus, she took the initiative to find Shen Lang to send this message, which obviously meant that she wanted Shen Lang to take her out to play. After waiting for a few minutes, Su Lishuan still didn't reply, and Shen Lang felt a little disappointed. Maybe he went to the bathroom. Or went to get takeout. This is the way most people who are fragile and lonely inside enlighten themselves. Even if the other party didn't answer, they made the worst plan in their hearts, and thought of an excuse for Su Lishuan to refuse, so as to comfort their sensitive and fragile hearts. After waiting for a few minutes, Su Lishuan still didn't reply. Shen Lang couldn't help but open the chat box with Su Lishuan, and then found something very interesting. On the top of the chat box, every few seconds or more than 10 seconds, it would appear, the other party is typing. Shen Lang was stunned at first, and then suddenly realized. He felt that Su Lishuan didn't do anything else, but kept holding the phone. The reason why the other party was typing from time to time should be that Su Lishuan was thinking about whether to accept his invitation. Thinking about it carefully, this is also normal. Shen Lang asked her out after knowing her for less than 2 days. She must have a hard time making a decision. She is not such a casual girl. It is difficult for a boy to ask a normal girl out with such a short time. Not to mention a girl like Su Lishuan who is more beautiful and more reserved. It seems that I am still a little anxious. After the review, Shen Lang smiled with relief and was ready to be rejected. Anyway, be a little more careful in the future, don't be so eager to get quick results with girls, there are plenty of opportunities to ask her out to play. What's more, if Su Lishuan agrees to go out to play immediately, Shen Lang will feel uncomfortable. It's like fighting a boss in a game. If the player kills the devastating boss in one move, there will be no sense of accomplishment. It seems that chasing girls is really a science. Shen Lang looked at the other party typing a few words in the chat box, and murmured with deep feelings. Just then, the WeChat notification sound finally rang, and Su Lishuan finally replied. Lahu didn't want to gossip early, sure, but you don't have to treat, we can just split the bill. I feel bad for spending your money when we just met. After a good sleep, he said, okay, I'll wait for you at the last station at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Lahu didn't want to gossip early sent a cat emoticon, yeah. In fact, sometimes it's not a bad thing to kill the boss in one move. Shen Lang put his phone away excitedly, and was already looking forward to tomorrow's date. Brother, who are you dating online again? As soon as he put his phone in his pocket, Shen Lang saw Shen Ranran looking at him with a smile. Wasn't it bad enough to be cheated last time? Shen Lang met his first love on the internet. When they met offline, the girl asked Shen Lang to buy this and that after dinner. They spent nearly 20,000 yuan in total, and Shen Lang didn't even hold her hand. As a result, when he got home, the girl blocked Shen Lang. Shen Lang has been depressed for nearly half a year, and even left a very sad message on his circle of friends. If I trust a woman again in this life, I am a dog. Shen Lang did not answer, but smiled and said, don't worry about me, eat, eat. What a slutty smile. Shen Linlin cast a contemptuous look, if you have this spare money to be a licking dog, you might as well spend it on me. I beg you to find a boyfriend quickly, and don't pester me all day long, okay? The smile on Shen Lang's face stopped abruptly, looking at the two venomous sisters and begging, when can you fast forward to, brother, don't you understand him? Chapter 17, There is gold under a man's knees, now is the time to withdraw cash. The next morning, Shen Lang woke up on the sofa in his rental house. In the past, Shen Lang would not be able to wake up at this time, but after taking the physical strengthening potion yesterday, Shen Lang seemed to be forced to install a biological clock. At 7 o'clock in the morning, he woke up without any sleepiness, and his body did not feel a trace of fatigue. After washing up, Shen Lang came to the door of the bedroom and looked at the two sisters on the small bed. In the dimly lit bedroom, on the soft bed that could barely fit two people, the two sisters in pajamas hugged each other tightly, and occasionally talked in their sleep. Last night, the two sisters didn't want to take a taxi back, and they thought the hotel was too far away, so they bought two sets of pajamas and spent the night in Shen Lang's small house. The two sisters have completely different personalities and completely different sleeping postures. Shen Ranran was lying on her side, leaning on Shen Linlin's arms, with a satisfied and sweet smile on her face. Shen Linlin was different. She slept carelessly, and her slender legs held Shen Ranran in her arms like an octopus, and you could even vaguely hear her murmurs. Although the two sisters slept in their own small beds, Shen Linlin's bold sleeping posture accidentally exposed a large area of white and smooth skin. Like all brothers, Shen Lang had no evil thoughts towards his sisters. He smiled and shook his head, walked over to cover the sisters with the quilt, and pinched Shen Linlin's fair face. You sleep like a pig. Brother. Shen Linlin murmured suddenly, with a deep smile on her face, and hugged Shen Ranran tighter. Shen Lang was stunned for a moment, and his heart was inexplicably warm. He complained unhappily, dead girl, you only dare to call in your dreams, right? After going downstairs to buy breakfast for the three of them, Shen Lang woke up the sisters. After being in a daze for more than 10 minutes in bed, the sisters reluctantly got out of bed and started to wash. After washing and eating, Shen Lang sent the sisters downstairs to go home. Originally, the sisters were clamoring for Shen Lang to take them out to play. But since he was going to date Su Lishuan this afternoon, Shen Lang absolutely couldn't bring these two light bulbs with him, so he decisively called a DD car for them. Little brother Shen. As soon as the three of them went downstairs, a little girl with pigtails raised her hands and ran over. It was Xia Shuyi's daughter Xia Mengmeng. Xia Shuyi was carrying a shopping bag from the supermarket. It seemed that she had just come back from buying vegetables. Oh, whose little sister is this? Shen Lang smiled and held the little girl in his arms and lifted her up to weigh her. It's so heavy. The new year is coming soon. It's just right to sell it for candy. It's not fat. The little girl retorted with a smile, holding Shen Lang's neck with her two chubby hands. Shen Linlin looked at the two of them sourly, as if she wanted to say something but hesitated, and finally snorted imperceptibly, dead lowly control. Xia Shui wanted to say hello, but she was surprised to find that Shen Lang had changed a lot today. As for where she is older, I can't tell. I always feel that her temperament has changed. And who are the two beautiful girls next to Shen Lang? For a moment, Xia Shui felt a little nervous, but she still smiled and asked tentatively, Xiaoshen, who are these two? They are all my sisters. Shen Lang briefly introduced them, and then said to the two sisters, this is my landlord, Sister Xia. Shen Linlin just glanced at Xia Shui with contempt and didn't say anything. Hello, Sister Xia. Shen Ranran smiled enthusiastically. My brother said yesterday that his landlord is a very beautiful sister. I didn't believe it at first, but I didn't expect it to be true. Sister, you are really beautiful. Shen Ranran is the child of other people's families that adults often talk about. She has good academic performance, looks beautiful, speaks well, and is extremely polite in her dealings with others. Whether it is peers or adults, basically no one will dislike such a sensible girl. Then, where? Xia Shui waved her hand with a smile, a little embarrassed, and then asked curiously, where are you going so early? The few people chatted for a few minutes before Xia Shui raised the shopping bag in her hand. That's it for now. Next time you come to play with your brother, remember to come to my house for dinner. Okay. Shen Ranran nodded enthusiastically, but Shen Linlin looked at Shen Lang, who was interacting with the little girl from time to time, with a look of contempt as if she wanted to say something but stopped. By the way, Xiaoshen. Xia Shui said to Shen Lang, who was squatting in front of the little girl, well, my computer has some problems today. Do you have time to help me check it? Shen Lang stood up, no problem, I'll send them to the car and come. Okay, by the way, you can have lunch at my house. Xia Shui raised the shopping bag in her hand. I bought a lot of vegetables today. Okay. Shen Lang did not refuse. Anyway, he was going to meet Su Lishuan in the afternoon. Brother, I feel that the landlord's wife seems to have some interest in you. The look in her eyes when she looked at you just now was almost thread-like. After Xia Shui walked away with the little girl, Shen Ranran smiled maliciously. And I remember that you only moved here for a few days, and she took the initiative to invite you to her house for dinner. It must be said that Shen Ranran is really smart. She can see some subtle people and things more accurately than some adults. Don't think too much, she's worth over 100 million, the whole community belongs to her. Shen Lang naturally didn't admit it. A rich woman of this level, do you think she can be interested in your brother, a geek who stays at home all day? Shen Ranran analyzed for a moment, and muttered seriously, yeah, that's right, if I had so much money, I wouldn't like a geek. Shen Lang. Hey brother, if she really likes you, will you accept it? Shen Ranran half-jokingly teased, this is not is she the rich woman you guys dream of. She's a little older, but she's so pretty. If you follow her, you can save yourself decades of detours. Why don't you agree? Money is so hard to earn now. As long as she nods, I'll immediately fall at her feet. Shen Lang shrugged generously and said indifferently, a man's knees are made of gold. Now is the time to withdraw cash. Do you know what the flower language of steel wool is? Forbearance, understand. Har har, you're really shameless. Shen Ranran was so happy that she hit Shen Lang. I think you don't like the landlord's wife, but that little girl. Shen Linlin retorted sarcastically, when someone says, little brother Shen, someone's bones are going soft. It's disgusting. Chapter 18, what kind of woman do you like? It's not Shen Linlin, what's wrong with you? You're jealous of a little girl. Shen Lang was so angry that he laughed, and reminded her unhappily, you can call me if you want. I'm your brother, and there's nothing shameful in calling me brother. Go to hell, old Biden. Shen Linlin blushed, and didn't know what to say in rebuttal. She couldn't bear it anymore, so she raised her foot and kicked Shen Lang, but unfortunately Shen Lang dodged with a smile. Go slowly on the road, don't bother your brother in the future. After sending the two sisters to the DD car, Shen Lang came to the door of the landlord's wife and rang the doorbell. Little brother Shen. The one who opened the door was still the lively and cute Xia Meng Meng. When she opened the door, she raised her hands high, raised her cute little face, and jumped to let Shen Lang hold her. "Where's your mother?" Shen Lang held the little girl in his arms with one hand and asked while pinching her little face. "Mom is cooking." The little girl giggled, revealing her cute little milk teeth. "Xiaoshen, you're just in time." Xia Shui came out of the kitchen with the last dish, with an obvious smile of joy on her face. "I've just finished cooking, come and eat after washing your hands, and watch the computer later." Xia Shui was wearing a white gauze dress, her fair skin was faintly visible, and her plump breasts made the slightly loose clothes bulge. Today's weather is hot, and Xia Shui has been busy in the kitchen for so long, and there are traces of sweat on her white neck, and a few strands of hair are stuck to her forehead and neck, revealing a charming look. This fragrant sweat, slightly red face, and messy hair are really a bit blushing. "Thank you, Sister Xia, for your hospitality." Shen Lang smiled and nodded, washed his hands and came to the living room to eat, and the little girl still sat next to Shen Lang with a cartoon stool. Ding! Xia Shui's favorability towards the host increased by 10 points, currently 60 points, please keep up the good work. With the help and prompts of the system, Shen Lang once again increased Xia Shui's favorability by 10 points. The atmosphere at the dinner table was extremely harmonious. Xia Shui felt like a family, and she liked this sense of fulfillment. After dinner, the two washed dishes in the kitchen. The little girl was watching cartoons on the sofa in the living room, laughing from time to time, and rolling around on the sofa. Xia Shui liked this warm atmosphere very much. The feeling of having a man in the house made her feel inexplicably at ease. "Xiaoshen, I remember you are 24 years old, right? You are not young anymore, and it's time to find a girlfriend." While washing the dishes, Xia Shui leaned closer than last time. "Sister is very curious about what kind of girls a boy like you would prefer. 1. I like girls who are older than me, with gentle and intellectual personalities, like you who know how to live. 2. I like flirty ones, the flirtier the better, and the figure and face must also be good. 3. I like women with big waves, don't get it wrong, these are two requirements, big breasts and waves. Maybe my personality is not very popular with girls." Shen Lang replied a little embarrassedly, "As for me, I prefer girls who are older than me, gentle and intellectual, like you who know how to live." "Sister, I am not as good as you say." Xia Shui smiled modestly, with obvious joy on her face. He didn't expect Shen Lang's answer to be so straightforward. The two continued to wash the dishes while chatting awkwardly. It is not known whether the movement of washing the dishes is too big or she is deliberately hinting at Shen Lang. Xia Shui's elbow occasionally gently touches Shen Lang's lower abdomen. Every time Shen Lang turned his head to look at her, Xia Shui lowered her head with a shy smile on her face. After washing the dishes, Shen Lang was taken to the bedroom by Xia Shui to repair their computer. Before entering their house, Xia Shui nervously told the little girl in the living room, "Meng Meng, Xiaoshen and I are going to fix the computer, you stay alone." "Got it." The little girl responded with her eyes fixed on the LCD screen. "I'm afraid it might not be the computer that will be fixed later." Thinking back to Xia Shui's body movements when she was washing dishes just now, Shen Lang swallowed his saliva inexplicably hot. He was thinking in his mind, if the landlady came to him forcefully, should he refuse? Or just lie down? Or take the initiative? Just then, Shen Lang happened to meet Xia Shui's shy and nervous expectant gaze. At this moment, both of them looked away tacitly. The atmosphere suddenly became charming, and the sound of the cartoons in the living room was particularly clear. "Big Bear, Bold Chung is here to chop trees again." Shen Lang coughed first to break the awkward atmosphere. "Sister Xia, which room is the computer in?" "In this room." Xia Shui responded quickly, came over to open the bedroom door, and sat down in front of a desktop computer. "I just bought the computer not long ago, and I haven't used it in the past few days. I was thinking of finding a movie to watch, but it prompted me to download something. I don't know much about computers and I didn't dare to download it for fear of making mistakes." "Xiaoshen, take a look." Xia Shui said, turned on the computer, opened the website yesterday, clicked on the video to play, and a window popped up to download Flash. This problem is very common. As long as you download the software in this pop-up window, you can play the video normally. Shen Lang originally wanted to remind him so, but who knew that the system option popped up again? 1. Pretend not to know, hold Xia Shui's hand, help her control the mouse, create an ambiguous atmosphere, and bring the two closer. 2. Tell her to download the software in the pop-up window, and you can play the video normally. 3. Help her download the software, and ask her ambiguously what type of adult movies she likes to watch. Xia Shuyi's favorability towards Shen Lang has reached a level where she can play some adult games. Shen Lang felt that even if he chose option 3, he might get some hints and ambiguous answers from Xia Shuyi. If it were another woman with such a favorable impression, Shen Lang might have been pushed onto the bed by her the moment he entered the room. To put it bluntly, these 3 options are a test or reminder to Shen Lang. As a man, it's time to take the initiative to make some excessive moves to narrow the distance between the two during their communication. Of course, if he was scared, Shen Lang could naturally choose the second option to answer. Let me see. Shen Lang swallowed nervously and walked a few steps forward to Xia Shuyi's back. After hesitating for a moment, Shen Lang bent down and held Xia Shuyi's white jade hand holding the mouse. At this moment, both of them trembled at the same time. Chapter 19. How many days have you only known each other? Xia Shuyi was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out of her chest when the strong breath of a big boy was so close. The blush on her face became more and more obvious. She didn't dare to look up at Shen Lang. She didn't expect that one day, in her room, when her daughter was still watching cartoons outside, a man would stand behind her in such an ambiguous posture. Xia Shuyi was even more ashamed when she thought that they had only known each other for less than a few days. Was she so empty inside? A big boy who had only known each other for a few days dared to bring her to her bedroom. Xia Shuyi felt that she must be crazy. She wanted to break free from Shen Lang's control, but she was worried that this would cause Shen Lang's dissatisfaction and misunderstanding. Deep in her heart, she had expected Shen Lang to make these ambiguous moves, and even hoped that Shen Lang could be bolder. So, Xia Shuyi could only look at the mouse on the computer screen stupidly, turning a blind eye to any presumptuous moves of Shen Lang. From time to time, he would look at this boy who was still a little overwhelmed by such things. Feeling Shen Lang's warm palm, Xia Shuyi, who had been lonely for several years. A kind of restlessness was spreading rapidly, and there was a beating desire in her eyes. At the same time, this was the first time Shen Lang held a woman's hand, and in such an ambiguous posture. More importantly, this woman was the landlord's wife whom he had just moved to this community and had only known for less than 2 days. Unlike the hands of girls that Shen Lang imagined, Xia Shuyi's hands were very soft, and they were especially warm in his palms, like a piece of white and transparent warm jade. Shen Lang was nervous and excited now, and didn't know what to do. He just held Xia Shuyi's hand and controlled the mouse to slide randomly on the computer screen. 1. Pick her up, put her gently on the bed, and kiss her from above. 2. Press her against the window, lift her skirt, and treat her gently. 3. Pick her up, sit in front of the computer, and then put her facing him on his legs, humiliating her face to face. Fuck, how come this system is more hungry than me? Shen Lang blushed and complained. At the same time, Shen Lang also completely understood that if he took the initiative now, Xia Shuyi would definitely cooperate, otherwise there would not be 3 such crazy options. Xia sister. Shen Lang let go of Xia Shuyi's palm, tremblingly stretched out his hand to gently pull off the shoulder strap of Xia Shuyi's skirt, revealing a large piece of snow-white skin and a round purple bra. Xiao Shen. From beginning to end, Xia Shuyi did not resist, and occasionally cast a shy look full of desire to Shen Lang. In addition to the mature charm of a woman, there was a hint of youthfulness between her eyebrows. This immaturity does not refer to her young age, but a kind of inexperienced and helpless. After all, she has only had experience for more than a dozen times, and she is a traditional woman who has not experienced it for more than 10 years. No matter what, do it. The moment Shen Lang made up his mind, his brain was blank, filled with only the most primitive impulse of human beings. He picked up Xia Shuyi roughly, and the two fell on the soft big bed together. Shen Lang pressed Xia Shuyi's arms, looking down at the shy lady under him, his eyes revealing an impatient enthusiasm. Xiao Shen, Meng is still outside. Just after Shen Lang pulled down the other side of Xia Shuyi's skirt. Xia Shuyi held the exposed large skin with both hands nervously, and moved away her shy eyes as if she was ready to be picked. She did not mean to refuse, but to remind Shen Lang that the little girl was still outside, or not to cause too much noise. Xia Jie, Mom, the phone is ringing. With a click, the bedroom doorknob turned and the door was gently pushed open. Xia Meng stood at the door with the ringing phone in her hand, looking at the two people on the bed innocently for a while. Mom? What are you and brother Shen doing? Xia Mengmeng's childish voice made the two people's desire come to an abrupt end. No, nothing, Meng Meng, give me the phone. Xia Shui was like a heroine caught in bed. She put on her skirt awkwardly, quickly tidied up her messy hair, and patted Shen Lang's arm with a blushing face, signaling him to get off her quickly. Shen Lang jumped off the bed from Xia Shui quickly, and adjusted his trajectory with his back to the little girl. Little brother Shen, what were you doing with mom just now? Xia Mengmeng raised her little face innocently and asked, are you playing games? I want to play too. Shen Lang touched the little girl's head awkwardly, not knowing how to explain it. Puff. Xia Shui looked at Shen Lang's embarrassing look and suddenly laughed out loud. She rolled her eyes at Shen Lang gently and angrily, and then said to the little girl, Meng Meng, go get your school bag quickly. You have to go to the cram school. After the little girl left the bedroom, the two people in the room looked at each other tacitly, and then quickly looked away. Xia Shui also began to review in disbelief. If Meng Meng hadn't interrupted them just now, would she really have to have an in-depth exchange with this big boy who had just moved in a few days ago? Xia Shui knew that she had a lot of good feelings for Shen Lang. She liked this warm and kind big boy very much. The most important thing is that he is really good to Meng Meng and is also good at taking care of children. But Xia Shui felt that it was too sloppy for the two of them to have in-depth communication after only knowing each other for a few days. They should have been dating for a while. And why did she agree just now? Was she really that lonely? After a moment of silence, Shen Lang found a random topic to talk about. What does Meng Meng want to learn? Piano. Xia Shui responded indifferently, and the atmosphere in the room suddenly became awkward. That's Sister Xia, I want. What about Xiaoshen, you go back to work first. Xia Shui interrupted Shen Lang's speech, fearing that Shen Lang would say something to keep her, and she couldn't help but waver, so she said nervously. I have to send Meng Meng to the cram school. 1. Doubtful inquiry, why? Can't you send Meng Meng to the cram school and come back to continue? 2. Eager confession, Sister Xia, I like you, I want to be with you, money doesn't matter, the main thing is that I want to take care of Meng Meng with you. 3. Generous farewell, okay, I'll leave first. If you need any help in the future, please feel free to contact me. Well, no problem. I'll leave first. If you need any help in the future, please feel free to contact me. Shen Lang saw that Xia Shui really didn't want to dwell on the matter just now. Besides, Meng Meng had already gotten involved. Xia Shui couldn't just leave her daughter alone, so she left the bedroom decisively. Listening to the sound of the door closing, Xia Shui sat on the bed with her legs hugged in a daze. We've only known each other for a few days. I'm really crazy. Thinking about what happened just now, Xia Shui shyly buried her blushing face in her knees. Chapter 20, Goblin's First Date. After returning home for a long time, Shen Lang's excitement and heat could not be calmed for a long time. He looked at the palm of his hand that pulled off Xia Shui's skirt, and his mind couldn't help but recall the scene in the bedroom just now, and he suddenly felt a little angry. It's a pity that there is no automatic fire extinguisher at home. Shen Lang can only sigh, what use do I have for this iron rod? As a novice, Shen Lang is still the first time, and he almost had sex with a married woman. It has to be said that practical action is much more exciting than self-reliance and YY novels of the same industry. The more I think about it, the more restless I am, especially when I haven't relieved my anger yet. This feeling of having nowhere to release makes Shen Lang feel inexplicably irritable. He took a cold shower in a hurry, and then he calmed down a lot. Until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Sula Xuan sent a WeChat message. Le, who didn't want to be early, said, "Today, are you not busy?" Sula Xuan was obviously testing whether Shen Lang had forgotten their agreement. Or maybe he was asking Shen Lang if he had nothing else to do in the afternoon, so he could come to the appointment. After the baptism of the system in the past few days, Shen Lang could still understand this simple and easy to understand hint sentence. Sleep until dawn, not busy, do you want me to pick you up from school in the afternoon? Le, who doesn't want to wake up early? No, the school is not far from you, I can just take a DD. Sleep until dawn, okay, let me know when you get in the car. Le, who doesn't want to wake up early? Yeah. The two chatted briefly for a while before Shen Lang closed the WeChat chat box. At the same time, in the girls' dormitory of Zhuhai University, Sula Xuan excitedly threw away her phone and couldn't wait to open the closet. Looking at the dazzling array of clothes, Sula Xuan tapped her white feet one by one, thinking about what to wear on the first date. Su Lishuan is like many single female college students. The day she entered college, she not only wanted to learn some knowledge and get a diploma that could find a good job. She also dreams of finding a boyfriend she likes in college and having a sweet love. Walking together after school, going on romantic dates together on vacation, living a sweet life every day, and fully enjoying the youth that belongs only to college. Interestingly, the person Su Lishuan met was not a boy in school, but a graduating senior whom she met by chance when she went out to buy chestnuts. Sure enough, life is like a box of blind box chocolates, and no one knows what the next one will taste like. He, Shen, take me with you. Yishinshin looked at Su Lishuan, who was scratching his head while choosing clothes, and teased expectantly. I want to see what charm this guy has that can make our Zhuhai University campus belle so fascinated. I said we are just ordinary friends, and we are just going out for a simple meal. Su Lishuan blushed and muttered, and at the same time she chose the clothes to wear for the date. Today is Saturday, and several roommates have gone home, leaving only Yishinshin and Su Lishuan in the dormitory. Su Lishuan was too lazy to go to the bathroom, so she simply undressed in front of Yishinshin, revealing her perfect figure that made countless boys salivate. Similar to Xie Shuyi, Su Lishuan did not realize that she and Shen Lang had only known each other for less than a few days. The only time they met offline was when they met by chance at the snack street. Girls who have never been in love are like this. They are all creatures who yearn for beauty and look forward to the future. The so-called school beauties or class beauties who are not worldly and do not care about the world are even more like this. If there is a person of the opposite sex who can catch their eyes and gain their favor, their emotional intelligence and IQ will inexplicably decrease a lot. This is why, no matter which university you go to, you can see such a huge difference in couples. Obviously, the boys are average in all aspects, and even ugly and refined, ordinary. Their girlfriends are more beautiful than each other, and their figures are better than each other. The main reason is that these boys have the courage to test some of the girls' ideas. They will not feel that they are unworthy, and then hide in a remote corner where the goddess can't see them, watching their dream goddess being chased by other boys. They will not be out of reach just because the girl is good looking. On the contrary, girls with good conditions will inspire their ambition. Of course, all single girls have many requirements for their future partners. For example, they must have a car and a house, or they must be a certain height, their family situation, and whether they have brothers and sisters. Some girls even have to consider whether the other party's constellation and zodiac sign match their own, and whether it will affect their future luck after being together. For example, Shen Lang's not particularly high appearance and the decadent temperament of a otaku are what Su Lishuan thinks should be deducted. But the fact is that a girl is really attracted by a boy and wins her favor for this boy. Then these rules and regulations set in the past will disappear in an instant. They will accept any personality and habits of the other party, even whether they are particularly good looking. Su Lishuan is like this. She likes Shen Lang's sense of humor and feels that chatting with him is particularly interesting. Many men and women who love each other gradually develop into lovers from this step. In this case, Shen Lang's appearance and the shortcomings of his otaku temperament are inexplicably covered up. This is a girl, a kind of interesting creature with strange thoughts. My Shen, who would believe you tilde? Yishinshin smiled maliciously, and then looked at Su Lishuan, who was wearing white stockings and had fair skin and a slim figure next to her, and walked forward like a pervert, groping her feet. TSK, I'm confused by these legs. I really envy that guy. What are you doing? Su Lishuan blushed and pushed away her bestie's hands with a blushing heartbeat. When she got dressed and left the dormitory, Yishinshin suddenly reminded her. If you don't come back at night, remember to ask him to bring a t-shirt. I don't want to be a godmother right after entering college. Play your game. Su Lishuan blushed and spat, slamming the door of the dormitory. Around 6 o'clock in the evening, Su Lishuan came to the bus stop where she and Shen Lang separated last time as agreed. At this time, there were a lot of people, and it was the rush hour after get off work. She was dressed up and immediately attracted the attention of many people. Su Lishuan was tall and curvy, especially the pair of beautiful legs wrapped in white stockings under the short skirt, which were slender and even. Upwards were the white thighs called the absolute domain, which looked even softer and whiter against the background of white stockings. Chapter 22, You look pretty handsome without glasses. Several male college students who came to look for food were fascinated by Su Lishuan's makeup and missed the bus. They stood by and struggled with the villain in their minds, wondering whether to go forward and ask for contact information. When Su Lixuan's eyes swept over them, these male college students suddenly had the illusion that they were secretly observed by beautiful women, and they were more confident to ask for contact information. Little did they know that Su Lixuan was just looking for someone. "Sorry, I'm late." Just then, a familiar voice came from behind. Su Lixuan's heart moved, and she quickly turned back to say hello. But when she turned around and looked at the handsome guy in front of her who seemed familiar, she was a little dazed, and it took a while to utter a few words. "Excuse me, who are you?" "I'm Shen Lang." Shen Lang reminded with a smile, "It's only been a few days since we last met. Have you forgotten me so quickly?" You are Shen Lang." It was difficult for Su Lixuan to compare the sunny and handsome boy in front of her with the last time with the glasses and the depressed temperament of the otaku. Shen Lang pondered for a moment, and put his hands in front of his eyes as binoculars. "Is it clear now?" I don't recognize you without glasses." Su Lixuan smiled suddenly, and asked curiously, "Is it convenient for you not to wear glasses?" Shen Lang nodded. "My myopia is not very serious, it doesn't matter whether I wear glasses or not." "Is this so?" Su Lixuan's voice was a little happy, and his eyes, which seemed calm and polite, looked at the reborn Shen Lang in front of him with great excitement. Their face was still the same face, but he didn't wear glasses. It was normal for Su Lixuan not to recognize him at first sight, not to mention that this was the second time they met. The most important thing was temperament. When they met for the first time, Su Lixuan could clearly feel Shen Lang's nervous and introverted otaku temperament. But now, Su Lixuan could not feel the nervous and socially anxious temperament from Shen Lang at all. Instead, he looked like a vigorous, sunny and cheerful big boy. "Is this the difference between wearing glasses and not wearing glasses? This is too much of a contrast. You look quite handsome without glasses." Su Lixuan couldn't help but compliment him. If Shen Lang's humorous conversation attracted Su Lixuan before, and his socially anxious and introverted temperament was a deduction, then Shen Lang has no deductions now. All aspects of his conditions are in line with Su Lixuan's requirements for his partner. This is a very realistic thing. No matter whether it is a man or a woman, no matter how far the relationship has progressed, they all hope that the person they care about can develop in the most perfect direction. Boyfriends hope that their girlfriends can have a better figure and a higher appearance, so that they can be more face-saving when they go out. What about girlfriends? No girl would like to take a socially anxious and introverted boyfriend out shopping. 1. Compliment the other person on beauty and ask about her height at the same time. No matter how much the other person says, remember to casually compliment her on her long legs. 2. You are also beautiful, but your breasts are not very big. I suggest you eat some fruits such as papaya on weekdays. 3. Thank you, you are also quite coquettish, wearing attack speed socks, so can you not go back to school tonight? I want to eat ice cream. You are also quite pretty. Shen Lang pondered for a moment, and looked at Su Lixuan curiously. "And you seem to be quite tall, you are 1.7 meters tall, right?" "No, how can I be that tall?" Su Lixuan shook his head a little embarrassedly. "I am only about 1.65 meters. Har har, maybe your legs are longer." Shen Lang praised casually, stretched out his hand and gestured. "I feel like you are almost at my chest." "Har har, not that tall, you are over 1.8 meters tall." Su Lixuan weighed his calf in white silk, smiled a little embarrassedly, but looked really happy. Ding! Su Lixuan's favorability towards their host increased by 2 points, currently 11 points, please keep up the good work. Shen Lang finally understood why the system wanted him to compliment the other person carelessly. Because a careless attitude is the most sincere compliment. Let's go eat first." Shen Lang pointed to the direction of the snack street and said expectantly, "There is an ancient street over there. It will be very lively with the lights tonight. Let's go there after dinner. Today is Saturday, and Su Lixuan is out to play at night again. As long as she doesn't stay out all night, it doesn't matter if she goes back late." With such a good opportunity, Shen Lang can't say goodbye to her after dinner. More importantly, if a girl is willing to go out with you at night, it means she has a good impression of you. The atmosphere at night is more ambiguous, and girls are more emotional at night and are easily moved. Plus, with a boy who cares about them next to them, most girls can't help but show their boy more things in their hearts or the most real side. This is why boys are often more likely to succeed when they confess at night than during the day. Of course, it is not ruled out that after a night of confession, the girl will send a message saying, "I thought about it carefully, and we are still a little inappropriate." The tragic ending is not ruled out. Yeah. Su Lishuan smiled sweetly, followed Shen Lang, and walked towards the snack street, talking and laughing, leaving behind a few heartbroken male college students. Shen Lang took Su Lishuan to a famous roast duck restaurant. After ordering, with the help of the system, Shen Lang took the lead in opening the topic of chat. Most of the topics given by the system are what Su Lishuan is more interested in. For example, campus life, celebrity gossip, various horror movies, and the like. For example, at this moment, Shen Lang inadvertently threw out a topic between roommates. Su Lishuan took over the topic and began to talk about it at length, vividly talking about the personalities and some small habits of her roommates, and her desire to express herself was very strong. In fact, a big reason why girls are unwilling to chat with you is that you didn't talk about the topics she likes. Or your chatting skills are too stiff and awkward, which will make girls feel inexplicably irritated. Fortunately, Shen Lang is using a plug-in. Otherwise, let alone chatting, he would not be able to ask the campus beauty of Zhuhai University out for duck. With the help of the system, Shen Lang's mentality is also undergoing a huge change, and even his chatting skills have been greatly improved. Sometimes, without the prompts of the system, Shen Lang can naturally continue the topic. After all, the system has taught you step by step. If you still treat girls with a submissive and introverted personality, then you are really hopeless. Just then, the waiter brought the steaming red oil roast duck and some side dishes. When the two waitresses served the dishes, Shen Lang and Su Lishuan were still chatting happily, not caring about the two waitresses showing aunt-like smiles. Su Lishuan is a lively and noisy girl. It's just the first time she met a boy. Like most girls, she is quiet and reserved. Unexpectedly, after the two chatted for less than an hour, Su Lishuan's true colors were exposed. So, after the waiter served all the dishes, he smiled and said to the chatty young couple, "You two, love can take its time, but you have to eat the roast duck while it's hot." Chapter 23, I want to eat ice cream. Su Lishuan, who was originally full of joy, blushed because of this ambiguous misunderstanding. She coughed lightly, lowered her head and ate the duck meat with red oil in small bites, and quietly observed Shen Lang's reaction to this sentence. Shen Lang also coughed awkwardly, not knowing what to say, but just picked up duck meat for Su Lishuan under the prompt of the system. Su Lishuan nodded and said thank you, and kept stuffing the duck meat that Shen Lang picked up for her into her mouth. Her white cheeks were full. The two people who were talking and laughing just now inexplicably became quiet, and the noisy voices of the guests around were clearly audible. However, this atmosphere is not only not awkward, but also has a tacitly charming atmosphere. To put it simply, the woman knows that the man is plotting something wrong, and the man also knows that the woman is pretending to be reserved. In this case, it is most appropriate to let it develop and then achieve a positive result. But the waitress's words directly broke the gap between the two people. How could this not be embarrassing? After dinner, Shen Lang paid the bill and took Su Lishuan to participate in the nearby Lantern Festival. After leaving the restaurant, the atmosphere between the two was inexplicably restored, and they began to chat and socialize with each other enthusiastically. When they arrived at the ancient street, the Lantern Festival had just begun, and there were dazzling lights everywhere. Colorful lanterns were hung on both sides of the ancient street, and each lantern emitted a unique light, making people feel as if they were in a dreamlike world. On the crowded streets, there was endless hustle and bustle, and the two talked and laughed as they shuttled through the bustling crowd. Every store was flashing colorful lights, and the words on the signs swayed under the lights, attracting the attention of passers-by. Su Lishuan followed Shen Lang, looking at the shops on both sides of the street with joy, and occasionally stopped to watch for a moment. The streets were filled with the sound of gongs and drums, as well as dragon and lion dances, acrobatics, magic and other performances. Such a grand scene naturally attracted many anchors to come. They carried live broadcast equipment and shouted at their families for support at the end of their phones. The tourists cheered and applauded continuously, and the children were even more excited. They ran around the ancient street with laughter. In addition to the performances, there are many traditional delicacies in the Lantern Festival of the ancient street. Shen Lang also bought a rabbit sugar painting for Su Lishuan and let her eat it while walking. Su Lishuan likes this place very much. After entering, the smile on her face never stopped. From time to time, she asked Shen Lang to help hold the sugar painting, and took out her mobile phone to take pictures randomly. Ding! Sulishuan's favorability towards their host has increased by 6 points. It is currently 17 points. Please keep up the good work. Maybe this is what it feels like to be a boyfriend. Listening to the system notification sound beside him, Shen Lang looked at the half-eaten rabbit candy painting in his hand, and then looked at Sulishuan, who was taking random photos of the lion dance next to him, with a satisfied smile on his face. Just then, Sulishuan in the crowd was bumped by a child, and the whole person staggered, and the phone almost fell to the ground. The naughty child didn't care at all, just looked at him curiously, made a face at Sulishuan, and ran away hopping. I was scared to death, and the phone almost fell. Sulishuan looked at the naughty child who ran away, and pouted his lips in annoyance. 1. Go up to chase the naughty child back, slap him, and tell him that he must apologize to Sulishuan, otherwise tell his parents. 2. Warn Sulishuan to stand farther away to take photos, so as not to delay other people's performance. 3. Hold Sulishuan's palm, gently remind her that there are many people here, and suggest going to the beach for a walk. Handsome people have partners, ugly people also have partners, only cowards don't deserve to have partners. Since his encounter with Sulishuan, Shen Lang has kept this sentence in mind. Here, there are many people here. Shen Lang didn't think much about it, stepped forward and held Sulishuan's soft and white palm, and said with a wondering look, let's go to the beach for a walk. There is a place called Bay in front, which is quite fun. Although Shen Lang had the help of the system, he was still very nervous to take the initiative to hold a girl's hand in public. He was also worried that his presumptuous behavior would cause dissatisfaction from Sulishuan. He held her hand even though they hadn't officially confirmed the relationship yet. Would she think he was too casual? If she said too quickly, I'm not ready yet, and then broke away from me, wouldn't it be embarrassing? While Shen Lang was brainstorming, Sulishuan looked at her palm being held by Shen Lang lightly, and the whole person was a little unexpected, and the liveliness just now disappeared immediately. She raised her eyes and looked at Shen Lang shyly. Her face suddenly became a little rosy, and after opening her lips and hesitating for a moment, she still responded in a mosquito-like voice, hum. After getting Sulishuan's response, Shen Lang's smile on his face was a little excited. Well, let's go. Jianghai City is a coastal city. In addition to some scenic spots and historical sites, the only tourist destination that can be mentioned and proud of by locals is the sea with varying degrees of popularity. Bay is located in a remote area and is not well known in the tourism guide of Jianghai City. There is only one relatively large conch sculpture in the whole area, and the rest are all long beaches and endless sea. Basically only people who live nearby will come out to stroll in their spare time, and tourists from other places don't even look down on this inconspicuous little beach. Shen Lang held Sulishuan's hand and walked on the cobblestone road. Next to the two of them was the endless sea, and there were scattered passers-by strolling on the beach. The sea breeze was strong tonight, but since the two of them were wearing thick clothes, it was not a big deal. Sulishuan didn't talk much along their way. She occasionally looked up at Shen Lang, and then stared at her hand held by Shen Lang with a red face, wondering what she was thinking. Sulishuan was an inland person and didn't have many opportunities to see the sea on weekdays. If it were before, Sulishuan would have taken off her shoes at the beach, stepped on the beach barefoot, and had fun taking pictures. She was originally such a passionate and noisy girl. It was a pity that her hand was held by Shen Lang now. Experiencing this kind of love feeling between men and women for the first time, Sulishuan was both confused and looking forward to love. Just then, the system options popped up again. 1. Smiling and teasing. Didn't you say before that you had never seen the sea? How about going to the beach to play? 2. Holding her waist, he said eagerly, it's getting late, let's go get a room, I want to eat ice cream, I'll take you back to school tomorrow. 3. Asked with concern, why don't you say anything, do you want to go back to school? Do you want me to take you? Chapter 24, The Female Elf on the Beach. Well, didn't you say before that you had never seen the sea? Shen Lang's grip on Sulishuan's hand slightly increased. How about going to the beach to play? Yeah. Sulishuan nodded expectantly, and the two walked towards the beach on the dense sand. Sulishuan was wearing flat shoes and white warm stockings, so the two could only walk along the edge of the waves. Shen Lang, what are you doing now? Sulishuan spoke suddenly, and at the same time, she was quietly holding Shen Lang's warm big hand. Feeling Sulishuan's soft fingers actively sticking to the skin of his palm, Shen Lang was immediately ecstatic, with an indescribable sense of accomplishment, and almost incoherent. I'm not afraid of you laughing at me. I'm writing a novel at home now. Really? What subject do you write about? Sulishuan naturally knew about online novels. She would occasionally go to Tomato Novel to read romantic novels to kill time. Unlike Shen Lang's blind date, Sulishuan did not ask Shen Lang about his salary and benefits, but asked Shen Lang what subject he wrote. After all, one was going to cheat the fool, and the other was going to have a sweet love. Ahem, martial arts and the like, all about fighting and killing, you girls won't like to read, and I have written more than 1 million words so far. That's not bad, at least it's a job I like. Sulishuan smiled without any concern and said, I didn't expect that you are actually a great writer. Har har, great writer is an exaggeration. Shen Lang handed the sugar painting to Sulishuan, it's just to make some money. I don't know if I will continue to do this business in the future. The two of them were chatting along the beach in the sea breeze, leaving a series of footprints on the beach. With the help of the system, the two talked about their campus life, future plans, and roommates. In short, they talked about whatever they thought of, without any rules. Most couples are like this at the beginning. As long as they have each other in their hearts, even if they do nothing, just sitting together can make their feelings heat up quickly. The bright moonlight was sprinkled on the sparkling sea, and the figures of the two people talking and laughing were also reflected. Ding! Sulishuan's favorability towards their host has increased. 5 points, currently 22 points, please keep up the good work. Girls at night are really emotional. After just a dozen minutes of chatting, Sulishuan's favorability increased by a full 5 points. Shen Lang also clearly felt that Sulishuan was getting closer and closer to him. When they talked about it, she couldn't help but stick to Shen Lang's shoulder, really like a lively and lovely girlfriend. Sulishuan shyly pulled away when she realized it, but Shen Lang's appearance was always reflected in her clear eyes. It was unknown how long it had been, but the two finally stopped in front of a pile of rocks. There's no way. Sulishuan looked at the dark rocks in front of her, and her tone clearly revealed disappointment. Shen Lang looked back at the place where he had just entered the beach in surprise. We walked so far. Hee, the time for chatting goes by quickly. That's right, har har. The two of them laughed softly, looked at each other's faces close to each other, and fell silent again. Just then, the system options popped up. 1. Hold her slender waist, push her against the rocks, and kiss her passionately. 2. Asked expectantly, no one can see us here, can I pinch your feet in white silk? 3. Caress her face, look into her eyes affectionately, and kiss her gently. Send her back. Shen Lang was struggling in his mind. To be honest, he was a little unwilling to let Sulishuan go back like this. But except for option 2, wouldn't the remaining 2 options be too exaggerated? He and Sulishuan have only known each other for a few days, and this is the second time they have met. Will he be beaten if he kisses like this? Shen Lang suddenly said, What? Sulishuan was startled. What's wrong? No, it's okay. Oh. After the two looked at each other, they shyly looked away, but their hands were still holding each other. At this moment, there was silence all around. The sound of the waves hitting the rocks was particularly crisp. The leaves of the ginkgo trees planted in the park on the shore made a rustling sound under the sea breeze. What a shame! There's nothing to be afraid of. Shen Lang cheered himself up in his heart, then let go of Sulishuan's sweaty palm, raised his hand and slowly leaned towards her fair and delicate profile. The system gave 2 ambiguous options at the same time, which meant that Sulishuan could accept Shen Lang kissing her here in her heart. He also secretly reminded himself in his heart that as long as Sulishuan had any unwilling behavior, he would immediately cancel the backswing and then find an excuse to get out of it. Shen Lang didn't want the female elf he had finally met to be scared away by his presumptuous behavior. Under Sulishuan's slightly dull eyes, Shen Lang's palm slowly fell on her delicate face and gently stroked it. Just as Shen Lang imagined, the girl's face was very soft and smooth, but the temperature was getting higher and higher. The moment the finger touched Sulishuan's cheek, she trembled all over, and seemed to guess what Shen Lang was going to do. At this moment, Sulishuan wanted to ask Shen Lang, what is our relationship now? But for some reason, in this quiet night with no one around, Sulishuan didn't want to interrupt the romantic atmosphere, but pursed his lips and looked at Shen Lang involuntarily. No objection. That is to say. Under Sulishuan's gaze, Shen Lang slowly leaned down, and their faces got closer and closer. Shen Lang could even smell the sweetness on Su Lishuan's lips, which was the smell of the sugar painting he had just bought. I wonder if it will be sweeter inside. Thump, thump. Feeling the temperature of Shen Lang's fingers and his face getting closer and closer, Su Lishuan's heart beat extremely fast, her lips trembling slightly, and her hands tightly pinching the hem of her skirt. Soon, Shen Lang's nose touched Su Lishuan's small upturned nose, and his lips also touched Su Lishuan's soft lips. The first feeling was soft, with a hint of sweetness, and he could clearly smell Su Lishuan's gradually thickening breath. Since it was the first time they kissed, Shen Lang had no idea. Without any experience, he could only clumsily stick his tongue on Su Lishuan's lips. If he wasn't worried that Su Lishuan would refuse, Shen Lang would have wanted to learn from the movies and stick his tongue in. After sticking his mouth to hers for a few minutes, Shen Lang gradually let go of Su Lishuan's hot cheeks and looked at her dull and surprised face in disbelief. Shen Lang had never thought that he had only known Su Lishuan for less than a few days, and this was the first time he asked her out, but he actually got the first kiss from this female elf. Su Lishuan also turned around shyly, covering her red cheeks, and asked herself in disbelief. Su Lishuan, what's wrong with you? How long have you known him? This is your first kiss. It was late at night, in such a leisurely and elegant environment. There were two young people who were just beginning to fall in love on the beach, blushing and heartbeating and bothering each other. Chapter 25. Is this what it feels like to be in love? After getting off the beach. As if their memories were erased, the two of them tacitly forgot the ambiguous kissing scene just now, and continued to walk hand in hand along the cobblestone path on the shore. Until around 10 o'clock in the evening, when the two had almost finished visiting this place and the lively lantern festival was over, Shen Lang reluctantly sent Su Lishuan to the car. Damn, is this what it feels like to be in love? Back home, Shen Lang lay on the small bed, touched his lips, and couldn't help but giggled. It feels really good. The only thing that Shen Lang felt sorry about was that he didn't stick out his tongue when he had such a good opportunity at the beach. Shen Lang felt that sticking out his tongue during the kiss was a real kiss. But as a socially anxious otaku, Shen Lang was brave enough to take the initiative to kiss Su Lishuan. As for sticking out his tongue, Shen Lang still didn't dare to do it. It was mainly because he was worried that Su Lishuan would have some extreme reaction. After all, it was their first offline date. Until now, Shen Lang is still very nervous. This kind of lingering sense of oppression is no less than the endgame 1v5 in the game. Shen Lang was not discouraged by this. This failure was just a good opportunity to give Su Lishuan a shot of prevention. Next time he asks her out, he will take the initiative to kiss her. She should be prepared, and neither side will feel awkward. Tomorrow is Sunday, and Su Lishuan has to go home to accompany her parents. The two also agreed that if they are both free next Saturday, they can also go out to play. Thinking of this, Shen Lang couldn't help but grin, and he was already looking forward to the arrival of next Saturday. Just then, Su Lishuan sent a WeChat message. I'm at school, and I had a lot of fun today. Sleep until dawn, rest early, and take you out next Saturday. Lahu didn't want to go out early, well, and I'll give you the money I spent today. Su Lishuan transferred 120 yuan to Shen Lang, including the 15 yuan for the sugar painting. In the past, Shen Lang might have thought that the other party wanted to end the relationship, so she would try every means to transfer the money to him. But now, Shen Lang thinks that Su Lishuan is a very good girl, at least in terms of character. Sleep until dawn, no, it's just over 100 yuan. Le, who didn't want to gossip early, said, no, you must collect it. We have only known each other for such a long time. I can't spend your money casually. Hurry up. Angry cat. Sleep until dawn, how about this time it's my treat, next time you can treat me, there's no need to go through so much trouble for more than 100 yuan. Dog head. The other party was silent for a moment before replying, well, next time I'll treat you to seafood. The two chatted for a few more words, and when they came to the girls' dormitory building, Su Lishuan put away her phone and walked towards her dormitory with a smile. Su Lishuan was very satisfied with today's date, and her steps were all cheerful. When she returned to the dormitory, most of her roommates were asleep. Only her best friend Yishinshin was curled up in the summer quilt, happily playing with her phone. My Shen Tilder, are you back? Hearing the sound of the door opening, Yishinshin couldn't wait to stick her head out, and teased with a playful expression, I thought you wouldn't come back tonight, Tilder. It's so late, if you don't come back, I'll sleep on the overpass. Su Lishuan blushed and avoided Yishinshin's, I know, smile, undressed and went into the bathroom to wash up. After taking a shower, Su Lexuan got into the quilt, hugged the plush toy Pikachu, and recalled the scene of walking on the beach with Shen Lang, which felt like a fleeting dream. Her relationship with Shen Lang progressed too fast. The two had only known each other for less than 4 days, and their relationship was so good that they could hold hands and kiss on the beach. More importantly, it was her first kiss. Is it really too fast? I've only known him for a few days. Su Lexuan poked her head out of the quilt, looking at Yishinshin, who was curled up in the quilt playing games in the upper corner with a solemn and thoughtful look. She wondered whether she should talk to this best friend who had seen countless men. But there are also such cases, right? And thinking of the scene of kissing Shen Lang at the beach, Su Lexuan's face gradually became rosy, and her pearly teeth bit her cherry lips lightly, looking a little shy. Her fair and translucent cheeks quickly turned red, and her chest under the pink nightgown rose and fell from time to time. The next second, Su Lexuan's charming cherry lips outlined a sweet silly smile, and the arc became larger and larger. Finally, as if thinking of something embarrassing, Su Lexuan hugged Pikachu and curled up in the quilt, burying her hot face in the furry Pikachu, and tossing and turning in the small bed, unable to fall asleep. From time to time, there was an involuntary silly smile on the corner of his mouth, and then a serious expression of self-reminder, as if he was struggling with something irresistible. I didn't expect it to be true. Yishinshin supported her chin and looked at Su Lexuan rolling around on the small bed. She shook her head and couldn't help sighing. It seems that there will be a lot of dog food to eat in the next few days. The next few days were just as Yishinshin expected. Whenever Su Lexuan was free, he would chat with Shen Lang on WeChat. At the beginning, Su Lexuan was more concerned about several roommates and was embarrassed to chat with Shen Lang blatantly. But after a long time, Su Lexuan completely exposed his cards. From the initial manual typing to the later voice chat, the relationship between the two heated up very quickly. The sound of love and affection made several roommates headache. Every time they see Su Lexuan lying on the bed, shaking her white feet and chatting with Shen Lang, the roommates are both envious and inexplicably anxious. Several roommates, including the internet scumbag Yishinshin, are single dogs. Don't they want to find a boy in college to have a sweet love? Sometimes during class, Su Lexuan would secretly take out her mobile phone to chat with Shen Lang. The time they spend on the phone is getting longer and longer. Sometimes they can even chat all night, and Su Lexuan's power bank is broken for this. The people in the dormitory also completely understand that the campus beauty of Zhuhai University, the white moonlight that countless boys dream of, is really in love. But except Yishinshin, no one knows that Su Lexuan's partner is not in the school, but someone she met outside buying chestnuts. Do you dare to believe it? Several people in the dormitory also said that they would keep Su Lexuan secret and would not spread the news that she was in love with Shen Lang. Who would have thought that the next day, the news that Su Lexuan was in love with a boy outside the school directly appeared on the hot forum of Zhuhai University. As the leader of the beauty area of Zhuhai University, the white moonlight of countless boys. When Su Lexuan's suitors saw this post, they were so envious and jealous, and they all asked who the school beauty's rumored boyfriend was outside the school. At first, Su Lexuan was still a little hesitant, worried that this post would cause some commotion. What's more, the title of school beauty was given to her by those boys without authorization, and she didn't know it at all. But later, Su Lexuan let it go. She is not a famous star or anchor, so why should she care about what others think about an ordinary relationship? Even if she is a school beauty, she can still have a relationship. Chapter 26, How bad it is for the children to hear it. The weather in Jianghai City has been relatively mild these days. The sun hangs quietly in the sky, casting warm sunshine, and the sound of cicadas resounds throughout the woods, adding a touch of irritability to the hot afternoon. On Thursday afternoon, Shen Lang turned on his computer and was about to play 2 games when Su Lexuan's message popped up. No wonder some people say that when you are in love, don't think about playing games. It's true. Shen Lang closed the game client with a smile and opened Su Lexuan's chat box. The next second, Shen Lang's blood was boiling and he sat up straight. Su Lexuan sent a few selfies, and most of them were close-ups of her legs in white stockings. Su Lexuan's legs are really good, especially when she wears white stockings. They look soft and fleshy, like a cat's paw pads. Just looking at them makes you want to take a bite. In this hot summer, looking at these white ice creams, Shen Lang felt dry in his mouth. But Shen Lang soon calmed down. The relationship between the two is good now, but not good enough to send such private photos. Su Lexuan can't be the kind of girl who likes to chat. He wondered if Su Lexuan wanted him to rate her selfies. Who knew that in the next second, Su Lexuan sent a message, Shen Lang, do you think it's strange for me to dress like this? This was a fatal question, and Shen Lang could not answer it wrong. It's not strange, what's wrong? Then why do some people say that I look sexy when I dress like this? Huh? Who said that? It's the group of people in our school's forum. They all said that I look sexy when I dress like this, and I don't look like a college student at all. Obviously, many girls in our class dress like this. 1. It's hard for me to judge based on these few photos. Send a few more and have a look. 2. Stupid, they call you sexy, they are just jealous of you. If I had your figure, I would go out naked. 3. It's really sexy, show me. Shen Lang was too lazy to type, so he called Su Lexuan directly. Su Lexuan was scolded badly on the forum these 2 days. She was not very well known in Zhuhai University, and the title of campus beauty was only spread among freshmen. Who would have thought that after her suspected love affair post went viral, many weird comments appeared in the comment section, criticizing Su Lexuan for not dressing like a college student. Su Lexuan was so angry, but she didn't know how to refute these people. She could only sulk alone, and had no appetite for the past 2 days. Neither her roommate nor her best friend could persuade her. Shen Lang. Su Lexuan quickly answered Shen Lang's voice invitation, but her tone was a bit disappointed. It seemed that those comments did have a lot of impact on her. Silly, what's the big deal? Shen Lang laughed and teased, I can guarantee that most of those who call you slutty are girls, because only girls who are jealous of another girl will call her slutty. Su Lexuan was stunned for a moment, and felt better, but still said angrily, but what they said was really too much, and I checked, many of the girls who scolded me were my seniors. Well, who cares about her seniors and juniors, she's slutty. Shen Lang laughed, if they can say you're slutty in a weird way, it means that your figure really makes them envious. If I had a figure like yours, I would want to go out naked and let those girls come to praise me. Har har har, you're a pervert. Su Lexuan lay on the bed, laughing so hard that his feet on the end of the bed swayed. Just a few minutes later, the topic of the two quickly turned to the date on Saturday. Over the past few days, Su Lexuan's favorability towards Shen Lang has finally exceeded 30. Several roommates saw this and couldn't help but admire this boy. With just a few words, he made his depressed girlfriend so happy. No wonder he could chase the campus beauty of Zhuhai University. At the same time, in Xia Shuyi's living room, Xia Shuyi was playing mahjong with a few old friends, and a few children were playing and fighting in Xia Shuyi's bedroom. Since she almost had sex with Shen Lang last time, Xia Shuyi has not contacted Shen Lang on her own initiative, and she is even embarrassed to invite him to dinner at home. She was reluctant to leave this sincere boy, mainly because he was very good to her daughter, and Meng Meng liked him very much. Under this complex emotional entanglement, Xia Shuyi had to call a few good girlfriends to play mahjong to relieve her recent bad mood. These girlfriends of Xia Shuyi were all dressed in gold and silver, wearing luxury clothes, carrying branded bags, and driving expensive cars that ordinary people could not afford. Some of their husbands run oil companies, some are in real estate, and some are in the tourism industry. Each of them is a big shot worth over 100 million yuan. The poker game formed by these four people is enough to equal 1/5 of Jianghai City's GDP. Only in terms of appearance and figure, these women are somewhat eclipsed. After all, they are all old and have given birth to children. Xia Shuyi is different. She is naturally beautiful and does not need to spend money to create her own physical defects like these rich women. Her figure and appearance can still withstand it. Walking on the street, you can't tell that she is a divorced single woman with a child. A fat, heavily made up, wealthy woman looked at Xia Shuyi with interest. Shuyi, your lover has been dead for so long, you haven't planned to find a man yet. Xia Shuyi played a card and responded with a smile, I'm fine alone, and I can take good care of Meng Meng. I think Sister Li didn't mean to take care of Meng Meng. Another woman laughed and teased, it's taking care of you, Shuyi, especially at night. Har har har. Several women couldn't help laughing. Mature women like them to play such ridiculous jokes on each other. Be quiet, the children will hear it later. Xia Shuyi complained with a blush on her pretty face, and glanced in the direction of the bedroom. But at the same time, Xia Shuyi couldn't help but think of what almost happened with Shen Lang in the bedroom last time, and her face slowly turned red. In fact, women of Xia Shuyi's age really have great needs. She had tried her best to restrain herself and focused on taking care of her daughter. Who would have thought that from that day on, Shui felt like a switch was turned on, and she could no longer control herself. Every night before going to bed, she could not help but think of what almost happened with Shen Lang. Shui's thoughts are relatively conservative, unlike those rich women who have 7 or 8 fitness coaches on call in their mobile phones. Besides Shen Lang, Shui did not want to find other men, so she had to buy some toys to comfort herself. Yo, blushing, it seems that there is still someone to find. Sister Hong nodded with satisfaction. I said, you must be a person who can't sit still. Oh, I called you to play cards, why are you talking about these? Shui did not admit it, and retorted in shame and anger, it would be bad if the children heard it. Just then, the bedroom door was suddenly opened. Xia Meng ran out with a purple toy and shouted, Mom, they want to grab your toy.